Hey everyone, Sawmill Charlie. Welcome to another Friday night bee chat. Hey there, Kimberly and Bundy and Clay. And let's see, we got Stone River and West Cliff. Hope everybody's having a good time this week as far as in your bees. Or get my papers and stuff here messed. And I'm gonna go ahead and drop the link in. Let's see. And it's pinned. Hey, Rick. And here comes Bill. There he is.
Evening.
Hey, here comes Willow.
Hey, there's guys. Mr. Will.
Hey, Scott. What's happening, guys?
Not a whole lot, man.
Just another slice of bee heaven.
Yeah, working the fingers to the bone.
That's JB out there at Stone River. Okay. So, anyway. Hey, Jay.
So I picked up.
Look here, here comes
Look at this.
the man, the legend himself.
No, that's Ian. That's definitely not me. That's definitely not me. How's everybody doing?
Good. How are you
doing?
Good.
How about you?
Oh, well, let's see. The honey harvest is all done. It's in the barrels. The equipment's cleaned up. Honey barn's cleaned up. Just getting the bees ready. So actually, I had nothing to do tonight. So I figured, well, I'll see what Charlie's up to.
So, so give us a progress report. I know, you've had a lot of, issues with losing a lot of your bee last year and coming out in the spring with hardly anything except for maybe one hive.
We had one hive.
You got one hive, and now how many hives? How much did you? I know you bought bees from the lady out there in Manitoba, I think it was.
So I bought 10 hives off of her. Yep.
And all that to try to help do your expansion and stuff.
Well, I don't know if you saw my short, but
a little bit, yeah.
We've increased about 10-fold, so we're sitting at right around 100 hives right now.
Okay. I mean, I think, what was it last year? You had about 300 or more, didn't you?
Yeah, we were quite a bit more.
Close to 4, I think. It was close to 400.
But the good news is I got equipment.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
So how was the canola flow this year?
We had another drought year up here in around the Grand Prairie area. So crops are not, I'd say they're probably half what they should be. In fact, I think if I remember right, the crop report came out here a few weeks ago, and I think only 27% was average, an average crop yield. The rest of it was below average, to give you an idea as to where we're at. I mean, there's enough that the farmers are taking it off, but there's not a whole lot extra. Let's put it that way. So as far as the canola, it was. I mean, we had a bloom. The bloom was probably 2 to 3 weeks later than what it should have been. The canola plants were quite a bit smaller than what they should have been. I mean,
right.
No moisture, nothing there. Now, for our plan and what Alan and I decided to do this year, it actually didn't work out bad. Now, I hate to say, something good came out of it, but it did. We knew we were not going for a honey crop pretty much right at the beginning of the year. Our whole season revolved around building our bees.
So you did get it. Sound like you did get a honey crop though, did you, or not?
Oh, I got some honey. So
You only got
what did we?
1,000 pounds, right?
No, no, we. What did we get? I think we're sitting about 5,500 pounds.
Oh, it's terrible.
But
At all. But
we should have been more than double that. But in all honesty, I was happy to get any honey crop. So
yeah.
I'm not complaining at all. Now, what do our bees look like? Our bees look absolutely incredible. In fact, I'm going to just put you on hold, and I'm going to text you a picture, Charlie, and then maybe you can bring it up here because I can't do it on.
Send it to Messenger, then I can pop it up easier if you can do that.
All right, give me 1 second here.
I know that Brad from Faith Apiaries, he's had a pretty bad honey crop this year too. His yellow clover up that they have up there didn't do much up that way. A lot of weather conditions.
I'm probably at a third of where I wanted to be. It's kind of interesting how James is saying they're 27% or something like that.
But I'm interested in he was doing some deep dive, figuring out what his issues were last year.
Yeah.
Why the bees died, what the cause is, and stuff like that, and all that stuff.
Well, didn't he figure out that there was yeast or something in his syrup that weakened him? And I'm kind of curious. I'm kind of starting to get down this pH rabbit hole a little bit. I'm kind of curious if that, if some of that plays into any of his conversation as well.
Now, Rick there, he's commercial. He's got 2,000 hives. He said he had a great year up in Kentucky. I knew he was he winters in Florida, and he was stating, I think, what was it, Rick, that you missed one of the honey crops down there? It was kind of a total disaster. You were telling us and all that. But, I don't know. It just, this year for me, I think it was queen issues, definitely queen issues compared to what I seen last year. Like Rick told me, fresh queens make more honey, and they're absolutely right, Rick Sutton, on that. I seen that in my own bees this year. Yeah,
Bill, those 3.5-inch shims I picked up today from our little Amish buddy, man, they turned out really nice.
Yeah,
really nice. And I think I'm gonna tweak what I'm doing for my candy boards. I think I'm gonna drop 2 inches of insulation in there.
Yeah.
When I do it, and then I'm just gonna fill. It'll be like 1.5 inches of sugar packed in there. I think that's what I'm gonna do, and I want to maybe talk about it later, but I'm thinking about maybe not giving them that upper entrance, so it traps all that heat in.
It wouldn't be a bad idea. I mean, you want to keep as much of that heat as you can, Yeah,
I'm thinking I'm going to put these together and put the plywood on it like I told you, and then I'm going to dip them, and then I'm going to drop that insulation in there and put the sugar in and a hardware cloth and the rim on it, and maybe just make this 100 just like that, and then I'll have a kind of a mix between. I'll have some with an upper entrance and some without. You know what I mean? And just see what the difference is, if there's any difference.
Yeah, I mean it can't hurt, man. Just to see what you can do with it, like it is.
Yeah. I hate to sound lazy, but that's that much less work you got to do to it then too.
Yeah, you're right. Hey, Pete. I don't know.
I'm curious. I mean, part of the reason I put that upper entrance is to give them a little bit of air to let some of that condensation out. I'm scared of that stuff molding up on me, but I might as well just try it with this batch and see how it turns out.
You know what they say? Beekeeping is the
Yeah.
biggest high school science experiment that never stops.
Oh yeah. Yep. And I'm still going to put a migratory or a telly cover over it.
Yeah.
Because I do see that even though you wax dip it, I think the plywood takes a beating if you put it directly in the weather. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it does. It doesn't matter what you do to it; it's going to eventually delaminate.
Yep. 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 So that's kind of my latest thing at this point.
Did that work for you?
Yeah, yeah. Let me go ahead. I was reading some of that. Jonathan Stevens. We'll get back to your question here in a little bit. Oh no, I haven't. Cancel messenger.
I don't go on Facebook very often, so
Right. Let's see how. Let's see how do we do this?
you're asking the wrong guy.
Share screen. All right. Everybody see that? Or not?
Nope.
No.
Nope. Here we go. There we go.
There you go.
Wow, it's a nice looking brood.
So here's some of the things that that Alan and I did. The queens that we purchased were crap, absolute crap. So we replaced them all. Most of the queens that we have in our apiary now are from my one hive that survived their last year. And this is why. These are the kind of laying patterns that I get from that genetic line. So this was taken. That would have been what? That would have been on Wednesday, I think. So as you can see, we're set up pretty good because the bees that come out right now are going to be what takes us through. And if you can see down in that next frame, so there was 4 frames that were pretty much laid up like this. So you can kind of see on that next frame down inside the box, it's laid up the same way.
All right, let's go to the next. There you go.
So kind of the same thing there. So
yeah, but beautiful. Well, there's you.
I was laying down beside him, but I mean that's after we removed the honey supers. There's just so many bees they don't fit in the box, and they're all like that. So we got 100 hives that are set up really well here, ready to go into the barn. I think there's 4 out of that 100. There's 4 that are questionable, and out of those 4, I mean, we're going to deal with those, right? So,
Wasp trap.
yeah, we still had dry year again, so we still had issues with wasps.
Now, when I see bees like hanging out there like that, are you pushing them down into that single box, or
Correct? That's exactly what we're doing. Yep. So you can see
All right,
the
so,
whole
I mean,
the whole apiary is that way. So.
I mean, when you do that, I mean, I kind of look at that where it's like, man, they need another box.
You got to remember, so most of these are field bees. If I go out there in a week and a half, 2 weeks, there's not going to be any of them left.
Wasp trap.
Yeah. If you look at those bees out there, they're the old ones. They are definitely tired bees.
That's the ones on the outside, then.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. And all that. So.
What do you have on some of your covers? It looks like some of your covers have a coating on them or not.
I wax dip them all.
So they're all just wax dipped. Okay.
Yeah. And some of them, so I clean them up every year. So some of them, I shouldn't say every year, probably about every 2-3 years, I'll clean them up, throw them in the wax dipper, boil them down again, and just make sure that everything stays good. I mean, that woodware gets expensive.
Yeah, Will's got a wax dipping machine.
So, I think you should be able to see on my channel the wax dipper I built. That thing works. That's one of the best things I think I ever built.
Yeah, you've got a big tank. My tank's just mine's a smaller tank that the Canada Wax people put out originally.
Oh yeah, yeah. I can do what 2, 4. I can do 6 boxes at a time.
Wow. Yeah, that's twice. That's at least double what I can do.
So yeah, 6 boxes, and I think I can get 4 pallets. I think I get 4 pallets in there ready to go as well. I gave up on counting the lids. I just keep shoving them in there until it's full.
Do you have any experience with wax dipping some of that HDO plywood?
No, I haven't dipped any of that. Pretty much everything I make, I'll make out of my boxes up here will be that 3/4 inch. Um, you know,
Like
well,
CDX or something?
exactly. Yeah, good exterior plywood. I tried some of that pine. I think it was kind of like a pine plywood. I know Brad has tried some of that gray D, and after talking to him, I think I'll stay away from that.
Yeah.
So, but no, and you know, we're set up really well. Like I say, the bees are looking good. We just finished a mite shake. So earlier in the year, our mite counts were through the roof. I mean, I was talking to Ian a little bit on it there, just chatting back and forth, and I mean, we were seeing 6 and 8% mite shakes. So needless to say, we got on top of them. That would have been a couple months back. Um, did a mite shake here. Well, did quite a few mite shakes. Right now, I'm right around the 1% mark, and I'm treating now. So I should be in really good shape going into the barn.
What are you treating with this year?
Secret.
Okay.
So I have a bit of a different treating regiment that I do up here. I don't want to I don't want to say too much, but it works really really well.
Formic based treatment or a thymol based treatment?
Is
Um,
that your secret recipe within the barn?
well, yes, except I've developed a way to do it out in the field here now too. So
Okay,
Okay.
I'll let I'll let you. All right.
Let
Uh,
that go. Yep. Yep.
yeah, that's a green room situation.
so
Um,
I can't say I'm not breaking any laws. That I will throw out there. So
Yeah, no, I was just curious. Most people were either doing a Apigar, what is it, Apivar or Thymol or Formic, and I was just,
well, Apagard's not up in Canada. They don't have that.
Oh, isn't it?
They
Okay.
don't. They have. That's why you see Ian using Apalife Var, which is a thymol. Um, I don't wafer is what it is, and
Okay.
you can get that here too.
yeah,
No,
Ian gave me a little bit of a tip to try in a couple of hives. I did that, and I'll let him kind of share what he's doing out there. But um, it worked really, really well. I mean, pretty much the mite drop was incredible on that. So I think he's
Great.
definitely onto something there.
so all right. So we got to me that's a decent honey crop for what you had. You got your bees built up in a 100 hives, which is going toward favorable.
A lot of work. You know, we ran into some interesting problems this year. So in order to get to where we needed to get to, obviously I had no bees to make a starter finisher. So after I purchased those bees from Manitoba, and a big thanks, like I mean that really helped me out. Um, but what we did right off the bat is we split her hives right there in Manitoba. So we ended up splitting them. Most of them, I think we split 3 ways. So out of those 10 hives, I brought back 30 nukes. So now we replaced just about every queen in those nukes. Like I say, I don't know. I'm not a queen. Well, I shouldn't say I'm not a queen breeder. I was getting into the point where I was selling queens. I would never sell the queens that I bought. I mean, just horrible. Out of which I think maybe 30% weren't even mated. It did buy me a little bit of time. The ones that were mated, the laying pattern was not good. Yeah, we basically we changed them all. But what it did allow me to do is it allowed me to take one of those hives. I turned one of those hives into a little starter finisher, and then just kept feeding it brood and feeding it brood. So some of those interesting things where you start out that small, you don't have the bee population that I'm used to make the the big 10 frame starter finishers. So you got to get a little bit creative. And I mean, where you go from grafting, I don't know, call it 45 to 60 cells at a time. Well, now you're grafting 15 to 30. And even at that, you have to be careful that you don't exceed what the beads, and stuff like that can do. So it was interesting because I had to, and it was good for me. Don't get me wrong. It was perfect because I dialed everything back and I went back to what I knew worked. And so the queens that we had, now the mating return was horrible up here this year too. I'm going to say probably 50%, and not the fact that the queens that came back mated really, really well, but only about 50% of them returned. So now out of that 30 queens that you're doing out of that small hive, you're only getting 15 back. So it got a little exciting. Needs to say, I was grafting every opportunity I had to get the queens and stuff like that in there. And at the same token, you're taxing the hive. I'm pulling that larva and stuff out of too. So it was an interesting year.
So, like you were talking about the genetics of that laying pattern, that's this year's laying pattern? So where did you
That one hive,
that one hive?
that
You only had
survived.
that one queen to get that genetic.
She was a first generation queen from one of my breeder queens. Yep. So
So that's all you had. Now
what-
I knew
that's what I
that you
built everything
went
from.
down to southern Canada there to that big queen outfit.
Yep.
So
Well, actually, I had them send me some. That was a couple of years ago. I haven't had anything. from
yeah,
them
but I
for a while,
mean,
so.
what I'm getting at is, were those some of the queens that you bought that weren't no good compared to what you
No.
got?
No. I don't want to. I won't throw the name out there. I don't want to say anything bad. But if the queen breeders are watching, they got to start paying attention because a lot of people I think had the same result I did. And one thing I could tell you is I will never buy queens from that breeder ever again. You know, and if a lot of beekeepers do the same thing, well, you know what, you're out of business very, very quickly, right?
Yeah,
So
but you just, it's trying to find that queen that has that kind of genetics. That's
Well-
that's pretty hard to duplicate, I guess you would say.
well, and that's why I was so happy that I had that one survive, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but and
Well,
everybody's like, how do you? I've had lots of questions. How do you know that was the one queen? I know that was the one queen because she was in one of my hive heaters, and that's the only one that survived out there. So it was also the only hive heater that I put in the barn, so I know exactly where she came from.
now Rick there, he made over 90,000 pounds of honey this year. That's amazing.
Nice.
Absolutely amazing. Rick, he's a commercial guy out of Kentucky. And he also migrates to Florida and all that. Hey, Barnhill, Kim.
So James, that picture looking at your equipment there, do you overwinter in singles or do you overwinter in doubles?
Well, I used to overwinter in doubles, and found that it was overkill. They really didn't need it. I was bringing bees out of the barn with still a full box of honey and stuff in there. I now overwinter in singles.
And you do put them away for the winter. You put them inside.
I put them inside a barn. It's
Gotcha.
Thermostatically controlled to 4 degrees Celsius.
Okay.
Which is 40 degrees Fahrenheit, really. Let's see, what else was it? Oh, didn't you used to do a deep and a medium there for a while? You were experimenting with that too.
I tried that too because everybody was telling me I didn't need 2 deeps. So then I went to a deep and a medium, and they were right. I don't need that either. Yeah, I'm a slow learner. What can I say?
But
And I've had success with the the 6-frame mating nukes as well. So I've got those through the winter too, just in the 6 frames. You gotta watch those a little bit more in the spring though. So they're the ones that I pay a lot of attention to early in the spring if it's going to be a late season. I'm going to do something different this year as well. So normally I wait to until it's a little bit colder out before I move the bees into the barn. We're going to move into the barn the third week of October. And so regardless as to what the weather's doing outside, we're picking them up and they're going in. So
Any reasoning behind that, or just?
yeah, I'm heading south November 1st.
No, okay.
So
Do you run two-way pallets?
I do, yes. Yeah.
Will here, he's an expiring, I'll say, sideliner for sure. He's close to 200 hives now.
Oh, welcome to the commercial beekeeping business. That's
I'm
beekeeping.
trying.
You start with one, and then you got 5, and then you got 10, and and it just climbs exponentially.
Yep. I've got some on bottom boards. I've got some on two-way pallets, and I have some on four-way pallets. And I do like getting off the bottom boards and getting on the pallet. So,
where are you located?
In Pennsylvania, central Pennsylvania area.
Yeah, so you leave your bees in the field year round.
Yeah, yep. I've got my apiary set up, and we were talking a little bit earlier. I do put a candy board on top, and I try to put 2 inches of styrofoam insulation above them, at a minimum.
Yeah.
But yeah, they stay out, and they're out in all weather. So
yeah, we get 40, 45, 50 below zero up here. So I mean, they can winter outside as long as you got them wrapped up, quite easily. I just like the security of being at, normally security. I mean, if I can keep the burglars out of the bee barn, but of knowing exactly where they're at and knowing what the temperature is and being able to keep an eye on them, and the bees don't need me. It's all the beekeepers.
Yeah.
Did they ever? You knew who they were. Did they ever capture them or do anything to them?
Oh yeah, they got them.
Oh, did they?
So.
Were they trying to steal copper or something?
Well,
I know they.
I don't know. They got in there and they stole a bunch of copper the first time. Out of the back of the barn. So there was a heavy, what do you want to call it? It was an insulated encased cable that we, they had ran down to the chicken barn out back. And these guys came up with a big pair of cutters and cut this thing. Well, it was live, eh? And
but they only did that once.
It threw the 100-amp breaker, and he was on camera, right? We see this guy laying down on the grass, and I'm thinking, great, so this guy got up and he was gone by the time I got out there. But of course, and here's how screwed up the world is. So when we got out there, we're showing the video and stuff like that to the law enforcement, and they're like, well, if he would have hurt himself, we would have had to charge you. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, he's on private property.
Yep.
Stealing the cable. What didn't have authority to be there? And I'm the one that's going to get in trouble. But anyways, that's just the world we live in today.
It's even that crazy up there. But see, what was I was going to say to you, James?
I didn't do it unless it was good, in which case it was all me.
Will, he's got, like I say, he's going towards pallets. He's got a skid steer. Oh, that's what it was. James, I won't say he's the newest. He's the second newest B3 hive lifter man, just like you.
Okay. Yeah.
Now, right there's your man to answer your questions. Yes, he uses his hive lifter to pick up those two-way
pallets.
Two-way pallets with that hive lifter.
I'll pick up those two-way pallets with doubles on them, and away I go. Think nothing of it.
Is there a different set of bars that you put on for that, or do you just run those bars up into the pallet?
Well, did you get the forks that he provides?
Oh, I did not. Maybe that's what I'm missing.
He makes a set of forks.
Oh, okay.
Here's the one thing I did do this year, though. I did upgrade those tires. So I got rid of those air inflated tires and I went with run flat on it.
Yep.
Way better.
Are
The other thing
are
I
they
did
bigger
is
in diameter?
they're the exact same size and diameter. They just won't go flat.
Yeah.
So
I have
Yeah,
one out there right
James,
now that's soft.
James, you got to tell him that you kind of overloaded that baby and bent that thing, didn't you?
oh, well, I did, but I fixed that too. That was once again the beekeeper. So it'll definitely lift it'll lift 4 full honey boxes just as advertised. It'll lift 6 full boxes too. But when you start getting, anything over the 6, yeah, you're gonna bend shit.
Wow.
But now, if you can lift, let's say let's say you got 2 highs with double deeps,
Oh yeah, you pick that up and go.
you can pick that up and go with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got to
Now,
get the forks.
then if you can you add up, let's say now you're talking his supers are deep supers, Will.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm running all deeps too. Yeah.
So if you got
brood box and
you
honey
got-
supers.
okay, well you figure if you got 6, you got 3 deeps on each hive. Is that overloading that machine?
That's pretty much the maximum. Anything more than that, you're gonna bend stuff.
Okay.
It doesn't bend easy though.
You had to work at it, right?
Well, when you start pulling it backwards and Alan is pushing on those boxes because it's so heavy to try and get it going, you got to load.
Yeah.
Well, now Will's got
Skid steer works good, so
he's got a skid,
Yeah.
he's got a skid steer. I think I'd be keeping with the skid steer.
yeah,
Well-
maybe I don't want those forks.
Yeah, I was gonna say skid steer is good. I'm a data guy. So if you figure out what the cost of that skid steer is, and somebody to run it, and the fuel, and the upkeep, and then divide all of those costs by the number of hives you got, it's expensive, but it's convenient. So you just have to understand that, right?
Well,
Well-
and I can use that for so many. The reasons I did that was I can use that for so many other things as well, whether it's
Absolutely.
pushing snow or spreading gravel, and
So he's doing construction type work with it.
Yeah.
So it's that's just not just for hives.
yeah.
And it's not a wheel machine, it's a track machine, isn't it?
No, it's a Caterpillar. It's a track machine.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Track.
Yeah, it's about 8,600 pounds, 9,000 pounds, something like that. So it's not. I mean, some of those are massive, but this is pretty good size. But I tell you, it's a little too heavy to trailer, but I can. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I still want a hive lifter or a easy loader.
Easy loader. Well, you were looking at a couple different types of those.
Yeah, we were considering jumping into one of those, and then our bees died.
All right, now let's get back onto that. I mean, you did some serious data collecting, and you came up with the fact that there was a yeast.
We spent a pile of money this spring on labs and testing. Absolutely. So
What did you? I mean, I know you would send out sugar water testing and I don't know a whole bunch of other stuff, and you had came back with like yeast buildup in your sugar water and things of that nature.
So we found yeast in just about everything that we were giving to the bees. More importantly, the bees that we took samples of from the bottom of the pallets and sent in, their bellies, stomachs, and stuff like that were all full of yeast spores. We looked for mites. We looked for a little hard to test for viruses in the dead bees and stuff like that. But we looked for everything. The only thing I can, without a doubt, definitively tell you is their stomachs were full of yeast spores. So then I started looking. Okay, where did they get the yeast from? And then talk with Ian. And he says, well, they'll collect that naturally in years of drought. Well, we definitely had a drought. But we've had droughts up here before that never hit us that hard. So then I started looking at everything. So I sent out samples of the pollen patties. I sent out samples of some of the treatments we had in there. I sent out samples because we had some water that left over. We had it sealed up in a 45-gallon drum. I sent those samples out. I sent samples out from inside the honeycombs themselves, most of which came back all with either yeast or brewer's yeast or some kind of a yeast in every one of them. So then I started asking myself, well, how did I, something as simple as the sugar water, how on earth did I get yeast in the sugar water? And I think it was from me being sloppy. I'll be completely honest. So when you're mixing up your sugar water and stuff like that, or if you got a hive and stuff around, the bees are going to be there. So did we have some bees that got in the sugar water and ended up going through the pump and getting mulched up? Absolutely. But we mix up 1,100 liters of sugar water at a time in our tote. You can see that on one of my videos there as well. So now, if you stop and think, if we did that early in the year and now we got the bees in there in a warm, sugary environment, well, that's going to start to ferment. That yeast is going to grow. So was that the cause? I don't know. But what I can tell you is the sample of sugar that we sent out came back. I've got the samples probably up in the office, showing a high level of yeast spores in the sugar water. So that didn't help them. So now they're trying to store that stuff. That's what I'm giving them to store, and that's what they're storing to eat all winter long. My bees can't get out, in the barn and stuff like that. They can't get out to do a cleansing flight or anything like that. So that's stuck in there, and they're eating sugar water all throughout the whole winter. So of course they're just feeding these yeast spores, which are only going to grow and multiply. The other thing that it probably ended up doing, and now everything that was in the hive, of course, was capped, but that was probably fermenting in there as well, which probably didn't help us either. The pollen patties that I sent out, that came back with yeast. Now that was more specifically brewer's yeast in there. Now we didn't have any pollen patties in the hives left through the winter. We try to make sure that we stop that feeding. We pull anything like that's out. But there was just another source. Year of a drought, they're going to collect it. Some of the other ones that I put in there, some of the treatments I put in there, one of them had high cornstarch content. Inside that cornstarch, there was a high yeast content. So just everything I was doing to try and help the bees, I think the beekeeper was the dumb one in that situation. And I don't want to say I poisoned them, but definitely not knowing. But I'm doing things a whole lot different this year. So one of the things we started off with is we fixed our sugar container, our sugar tank. There's no way a bee can get in there. We're very, very diligent when we're mixing our sugar water up. Everything, including our pails, our buckets, the screens, the yeast, the pump, or not the yeast, the tote, the pump. We cleaned and sanitized it all. There's zero chance of us having that in there. We're changing our feeding regimen a little bit as far as the pollen patties and stuff that's in there. We basically just eliminated anything in there that could. Now I do have pollen patties in there yet, so we'll stop feeding the pollen patties here probably in about 2 weeks. They're going through probably 1.5 pounds of pollen patty about every week. And that's good.
Now, is that because they didn't collect pollen through the summertime?
No, so there wasn't a whole lot of pollen up there, but that tells me two things. So one, they're still feeding the brood, which is a good thing. I want that brood this time of year. I want that new, fresh brood. So as long as they're taking pollen patties this time of year, I'm ecstatic. The sugar water that we're feeding them, I'm trying to plug them right out. They're going through right now probably a gallon or 4 liters of sugar water about every 3 to 4 days. And then we don't give them anything for a couple of days. It's a bit of a balance right now. And the balance that I'm trying to do right now is I want that brood in there. But basically right now, I'm giving them as much sugar water as they can, because as that brood hatches out now, I want them to plug that up. I want them to plug that box out with the sugar water. So we were kind of limiting as to what we were feeding. And we changed that strategy probably about a week and a half ago, and now we're plugging them out with as thick a syrup as I can possibly get to them. So we're definitely probably 2 to 1 for sure on there. Um, Still using the Apis biologic. I'm still a huge fan of that. I mean, I did that long before I had these problems. Um, I think I'd be hard pressed not to use that, to be honest with you. I've just seen that over and
So
over and over again.
can you still get the black bags, or you got to go somewhere else?
Uh,
The product.
let's just say I made sure I had enough for a couple of years. So,
Okay.
um, but so yeah, I'm still doing that. Like I say, the pollen patties, we're they're as long as they'll take those. So they're going to start plugging out because, like I say, now that we're feeding them so heavy, as soon as that brood hatches out, they're going to end up plugging that out. So my brood nest, I know, is going to start shrinking. Yeah, just taking the extra time to make sure that those little details of cleanliness and those little details of sterilization and everything like that. I'm all over the mites. Like I say, my mite count is low. Um, you know, 1%, actually probably less than 1%. I think we did 300 bees, and I think we found 1 to 2 mites on average. So we're less than that 1%. So that's not too bad. Um, and we did a lot of testing because I wanted to make sure I didn't have a mite bomb out there somewhere that I missed, and that's something I didn't do last year. We didn't do a whole bunch of testing. We kind of took sample tests, so we're changing all that too to make sure we've got that. And you can do that with fewer hives. With the more hives, I still have a full time job. Alan still has a full time job, so we're able to put a little bit more attention onto those fewer number of hives than what we could with the larger number of hives. So, um, what else can I tell you?
With
Did
getting
you
into
did you test your pH at all, James?
I haven't. I was watching some videos. I saw that. Now, well, I shouldn't say I haven't. So we use city water. So, and my wife tests the pH every time she's feeding the plants and stuff. So our pH coming out of the water up here is probably right around about 5.5 to 5.7 ish. So I don't know where that falls with the whole pH level out there as to what they were doing, but I did see some of the pH and stuff like that out there.
What was that, Bill? I think, what was it, 4% or something like that?
4 to 4.5 is what you want sugar syrup at.
Okay, so yeah, I'm sitting about 1% high then. So we're like say we're about 5.7. So,
And
but
we were talking about this pH thing here last week. In our club meeting, we had a science girl. I guess she's trying to get her PhD or whatever, and she talked about exactly what Bill talked about, that MPD or whatever it was,
Yeah.
and the pH and all that kind of stuff
so
and all.
So, I mean, I know where the pH is. I mean, we have small up here. I don't know whether they do it down there too, but our drinking water from the taps up here has a small amount of chlorine in it. So I'm not adding any additional chlorine bleach into it or anything like that. We don't add fluoride or things like that into our water up here. So chlorine is about the only thing that's in there. So we do have a little of that chlorine bleach in there. Um, I did reach out, and when I was last down in the States there, I talked to Bob a little bit about the chlorine, the pools and adding chlorine into the sugar water and stuff. And I think we're probably good with that. Alan and I kind of discussed that again here the other night. So we think we're sitting good there. We basically just dialed things back to what we knew worked and went from there. So.
Well, that's good. At least, I mean, you're on the right path again.
Yeah, things are looking good. So, I'm pretty happy. Like I say, out of the hives that we have out there, I think there was 4 that are questionable, and we'll make an assessment of those here right quick. Like we were talking, we're going to take a look at them, and we still have time. I can pay for them together. So what we're going to look at there is, we have 2 options. We can send those 4 hives into the barn and say, well, what happens happens. I mean, it really almost is too late up here. If you haven't got the hive what it needs by the 1st of October, um, you're too far behind the 8 ball to change anything. We're pretty much there now. But what we're thinking is, you know what? Maybe what we'll do is we'll take a look at those 4 hives. We'll find whatever's queen's the best queen that's there. Um, we'll paper them together. You know, get rid of the other queens, paper them together, and go from there. Combine the brood and try to make one hive that has a better chance of making it through the winter, say, than 4 that don't. So, but that's a really small thing in the big scale of things here. So.
With it's September here. What's your weather like up? Is it getting cold up there already?
Well, you'll have to do some conversion, but we're going down to about 12 degrees Celsius at night. Now, the interesting part is we get huge temperature swings. So today it was 28 degrees Celsius outside, and it's supposed to go down to, I think, 9 degrees Celsius tonight. So
yeah, 28 is 82 degrees Fahrenheit. 12 degrees at night was 53, and you might go down to 48 tonight.
Yeah. So I mean, pretty big temperature swings, right?
Yeah, it's similar to what we have here, I think. Maybe not quite as cold at night, but I know depending where you live. But
well, I haven't worried about bringing my tomatoes and stuff in. I'm going to pick all my tomatoes in the backyard probably tomorrow. We'll get those done and get those pulled and throw those into some salsa or something. But it's typical weather in Alberta,
right.
James, were you down at Nobby last year?
I was not. No, I haven't been down there. So, what has it been, Charlie? 2 years, 3 years, I think, since I've been down there.
Since you've been the last time you were at Hive Life.
Yeah.
They had the reason I ask is they had one of those hive lifter trailer, or they had it in a trailer configuration that they had actually built for a guy, and they displayed down at the conference for the conference, and then he took it home. But it was pretty interesting.
An easy loader, you mean?
Yeah, an easy loader. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty neat. It was pretty cool.
I don't know whether they had that at Hive Life or not.
They did. Yep. Actually, you'll see that on my video there too. Yep.
I think they did.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's been sending me messages saying where are you at, what's happening, where are you at, what's happening. So I figure until I can figure out how to keep my bees alive, I probably am not the one to be giving advice. So,
well, I think that yeast thing is pretty interesting.
I do too.
It was a wake up call for us for sure.
Yeah.
And why didn't it affect us earlier in the year or in earlier years? We weren't mixing up and had any sugar water left over. I mean, we would mix up what we needed and away we'd go. So we never had that sitting there.
All right, so you're saying like last year you actually had leftovers?
We had leftovers last year.
And
and we normally would. So normally what we'd do is we'd mix up like 1,100 liters. We'd mix up a tote at a time.
Yeah.
And then you'd go out. Well, if you got half the bees done, you'd mix up another tote. And if you ended up with half or 3/4 of the tote left over, well, we would just park that over in the shade, and away we would go. Right. And next time we go out there a week later, we'd just grab the trailer and fill them up and feed them again.
All right. So by the time when you're going from, let's say, from 1 week to the next week, or let's say 3 or 4 days later, now that sugar water had time to ferment.
Correct.
Some.
Yeah. And I don't know for sure. All of this that I'm telling you guys is we're making a lot of assumptions here. The only thing I can tell you for sure is the test showed that the bee's stomach was full of yeast spores. The only thing that I could tell you for sure is the test samples that I sent out all had yeast in it. A lot of people says, well, it was probably mites. It's probably mites. I can tell you it wasn't mites.
Yeah, because knowing what I know, there wasn't no mites.
My mite count when I come out of the barn in the spring, and I'm gonna create all sorts of shit here.
They were
is
just say it was zero.
It is zero.
Zero.
So
That's
I
another
think
green.
there's a lot to the, Bob said it, but there's a lot to the chemistry of feeding bees and what they're eating and to keep their guts straight. The pH, the yeast, I think there's a lot to it.
All right, now this gal that we had at our club meeting, she was, I think, out of Penn State. And I don't think whether she was ahead of the experiment or maybe she was talking about the experiment. They had, I'll say, 4, I guess, commercial beekeepers. And now they did have a 50% lossage.
There was
Which,
huge losses up here this year.
yeah.
I was talking to one guy
what I was
lost
getting at
1,800 hives.
is that she was talking about sugar water, inverted sugar water,
There's a difference.
honey, and pro sweet. I think that's what it was all. There was 4 different ones, and the honey, the bees had a higher success rate with, where they fed only honey, and then I think the next one was close to that was inverted sugar,
But under what
which was
conditions,
kind of like
Charlie?
pro sweet, and then they had straight sugar water and something. I think it maybe was with those 3s, but anyway,
Yeah.
they were looking at what the bees, overwintered the best with.
And you have to. So I'd be interested to read that article. But the other thing is what condition were they doing those tests in? So I would say if the bees can get out and do a cleansing flight, absolutely, you're laughing. The reason I try to pull 100% of the honey. I even pull the honey out of the brood boxes that they'll have stored down in the bottom.
Here,
usually outside
Donna
there.
was there, and luckily she
Got
said it was honey, inverted syrup, sugar syrup, and corn syrup. Corn syrup
Yep.
was the absolute worst.
Yeah. And the reason I say that is I pull all the honey because the honey is going to have, it's going to have your pollens, it's going to have, those micronutrients and stuff like that. My bees can't get out and fly, right? They can't get rid of that. A lot of the tests have shown that where if you feed them the inverted syrup or the sugar water, what they end up with is they end up with very little left in their stomach.
Yep.
And the byproduct, of course, is energy from the sugar and water, which comes out in vapor. So that's much easier on the bees, and there's lots of science to show that. I imagine.
Well, that's, she was talking about honey being the best feed, but I'm like, well, also I've heard in the science part where you have ash, as they call it, which is the remnants in the gut.
Yeah, indigestible solids.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I've often heard that sugar water was better for the bees because you didn't have that problem
Correct.
and all that.
But if you're gonna feed sugar water, the best sugar water you can feed is inverted sugar. And there's 2 ways to do it. You can either heat it or you can invert it with citric acid.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had there was the other chat that I was on prior to mine here, and the guy was talking about inverting sugar with citric acid or tartar sauce by heating it and then adding that stuff to it. I said, well, I don't know much about that. And
how do you do that in the quantities that I would need?
Yeah, I know. That's what
Right.
He's got 4 hives.
How do you do that in? I mean, where are we at? Are we, every time I mix up. Well, stop and think about this. Let's just do some quick math. So if you put 200 liters of water, I'm going to use liters up here in Canada, guys. Sorry for all of you down in the States. And the reason being is 1 liter of water, 1 kilogram of sugar gives you a perfect 1-to-1 ratio. 1 liter of water, 2 kilograms of sugar give you a perfect 2-to-1 because 1 liter of water weighs a kilogram. So it's just easy math. So if I put 200 liters of water in there, I'm going to put 400 kilograms of sugar in there. So that's going to make probably, by the time everything is said and done, that's probably going to make about 400-ish, 450-ish liters of sugar water. I mix up a tote, 1,100 liters, and I will go through that 1,100 liters in what, a week? Not even. So, I mean, Costco loves Alan and I when we go down there, especially when we're putting our sugar order in, right? I mean, last year I think we bought what, 12 pallets of sugar. You know, um, they just like, here they come again. But you know, it's almost like they see, oh, here comes those honey guys. Let's get those bills going. But yeah, so it's just to say you're going to invert it. I really wish that I had the availability to, to buy that the inverted sugar syrup. Problem is um, it's got to be bought through Bee Made up here. They kind of have the contract with the Rogers factory and stuff down in southern Alberta. Um, I'm kind of at a little bit of a. I know I'm going to lose the battle, but I'm just not too impressed with our honey co-op up here right now. So some of the games that are being played there.
What kind of cost are you seeing up there for sugar, James?
What is it sitting? I think it's sitting at about. I think it was $28 or $32 a bag for a 20-kilogram bag. So what is that? 50 pounds, roughly. 40 pounds,
Okay.
40. Yeah, 40, 50 pounds. So
I just got a bunch for like 57 cents a pound, which is, I think it's a little bit under maybe where you're at, but
yeah. It's funny because we're going to
sugar's
start buying.
expensive.
Sugar is expensive, but it's less expensive than if I was to have to drive down and pick up the syrup. I've been trying to work with a couple other beekeepers up here, bring a tanker of that sucrose sugar up here, and away you go. But once again, I got to buy it through Bee Made. So until Bee Made wants to follow their own rules, I'm not going to support them.
I think the inverted sucrose is more stable and won't ferment.
I think so. Yeah.
But as soon as you cut that with water that down at all, you got to be careful, I think.
Yeah, your shelf life goes away.
I don't know why you would water it down.
Well, if you weren't feeding, isn't inverted sucrose actually more than 2 to 1? I believe
it's almost 3 to 1.
Yeah, it's almost 3 to 1. So to get to 1 to 1, you're going to cut it some. You know what I mean?
I just feed them less.
There you go.
There you go.
So, but I mean, unless you're going to mix it up and feed it right away, and maybe trying to get them to draw some comb or something. Right?
Yeah.
Or trying to stretch it out. But if you did that, I mean, you wouldn't mix it in your bulk tank, right? You would mix it in your little tank, your feeding tank, or your pails,
Yep.
or whatever you do there. So.
Yep. I plan on pursuing that with our little friendly syrup supplier, Bill, and seeing if I can buy once. I don't think he's going to do it next year, but I do think he's going to buy sucrose and high fructose corn syrup separate and blend it there. I might see if I can buy a tote of sucrose off of him, just straight inverted sucrose.
He might do it.
Yep.
So inverted sucrose is just inverted sugar water.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's almost 3 to 1, Charlie. And it is just sugar and water, but they heat it and it inverts it and it makes it so they can get so much more sugar into it. You know what I mean?
My camera keeps flipping. Yeah. I was trying to become inverted.
So
I'd set a tote of sucrose up, and then I would just tap out of that into my 60-gallon tank that I go around and feed out of the pickup truck. I would put so much of that inverted sucrose in, and then I'd cut it with a little bit of water because I'm not going to try and feed almost 3 to 1. Depending on what I'm doing.
Yeah,
and then
I'd
go
love
put
it
it right on the bees.
I'd love if I could feed 3 to 1 up here right now. That would be the ultimate.
That thick? You really would want it that thick? I don't think they could take it down that thick.
I was going to say, as long as they could take it.
Yeah, I don't think they can take it. Yeah.
So,
I think
it's not,
you get much over 2-to-1 and it gets tough for them.
I was
Well,
going to say,
when
it's not too bad right now where we're getting the 26, 27 degree days. But I mean, those are going to disappear here very quickly. So,
Yeah.
which is why I usually say anything after about the 1st of October, you got to be careful because the last thing you want is liquid feed in that, in that hive when you put them into the barn. So that'll ferment really quickly. Then you end up with mold growing in there and all sorts of other issues.
Yep.
So StreamYard must have changed a little bit, did it, Charlie? I haven't been on here for a while. I got all sorts of different boxes on the bottom of my StreamYard here now.
what StreamYard? Yeah, they changed their looks a little bit here and all. They changed
See,
their pricing too.
oh yeah, you don't pop in here for what 6 months and everything changes.
There you go.
And then I was going to ask that same question. Bill's already answered. Where Pro Sweet is 50-50 blend. High fructose corn syrup and inverted sucrose.
I still will throw that out there for anybody that's mixing their own sugar syrup. Mix it up and then let it sit. Let it sit for a day because especially when you start mixing it 2-to-1. If you don't end up with a really good mix or your water isn't, let's say, warm so that it can dissolve that sugar, especially if you're feeding it with pails, it will settle out on the bottom of your pail and it will plug your screen off. So we mix it up and we try to let it sit for at least 24 hours, and that way it'll settle in the bottom of the tank before you feed it in, because we've ran into that before too.
Now with me, when I mix my sugar water, I heat it. So I make sure I'll say melts the sugar.
Well, the wife's sitting in the other side, but we seem to empty my 100-gallon hot water tank every time we're mixing sugar water.
I put a fire with mine.
So
But I'm only
yeah.
doing 40-gallon batches.
Yeah,
So,
we'll put 100 gallons in there and then start adding some sugar, give that that gas-fired hot water tank a chance to heat up, and then we'll fill it up the rest of the way.
right.
And then she jumps in and goes to jump in the shower or the bathtub, and there's no hot water.
Yep.
But I always like heating it because it melts the sugar within the water and it doesn't participate out of the. The only time I've ever seen that is in the top eye feeders that I use, and if it's sort of sitting in there, and I'll say the water content evaporates out of it more so than you'll
Yep.
see a little bit of a scale of sugar
Yep.
in there, but not
Yep.
much.
So
And,
I did learn one thing here this year that I'll throw out there to everybody. So wasps has always been something that's kind of got me up here, trying to figure out how to deal with the wasps. And we left a bee escape sitting out there on top of one of the boards. And we came back the next day, and we had actually dripped a little bit of honey down on the top of the hive. And the wasps got in through that bee escape, and they couldn't get out. And the light bulb went on. Ding. So we actually take bee escapes now. We put a piece of plywood down on the bottom, and we'll throw a little bit of that wet dog or cat food in there, because the honeybees, they don't care about that cat food. But man, does that attract the wasps. You'll go out there and hundreds of wasps get stuck in that thing and they can't get out. And you already have the bee escapes, so you're not making or trying to buy a new piece of equipment. We put a hot dog or something like that in there. The honeybees aren't attracted to it, but man, the wasps and the hornets, they're in there like you wouldn't believe. So that works really, really well.
yeah. But yeah.
James, talking about the wasps, they drive me crazy. Like I'll hang traps, and I'll put, like you were saying, I'll put a little bit of like scrap meat in there,
Yep.
or trimmings or something like that, because
Yep.
the honeybees don't care about that. It's the
Correct.
wasps; they actually like the meat and the protein.
Correct.
And I've driven myself crazy trying to kill them and trap them. And I think that maybe I'm wrong. I think the yellow jackets bother me more than they bother the bees.
I've had hives killed by yellow jackets.
Oh, have you? Okay,
Yeah.
I have not experienced
Yeah.
that.
I sat out there one day just thought, okay, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to see how many yellow jackets that I can kill. So I sat at the front of the hive with my hive tool, and I sat there probably for, I'm going to say, an hour and a half, 2 hours. And I kid you not, I probably had a pile of bees about 6 inches in diameter and probably 4 inches high
Wow.
of dead yellow jackets in the front of that thing. And yeah, they would literally move from hive to hive to hive. And I don't think they were killing the honeybees. I think they killed the hive from eating the larva and everything else that was in there.
Okay.
I think that's
Have
how
you
they
set this
killed it.
crap up, James? You
So, have you seen the bee escapes that we use? So
you have the triangle jobs?
no, I don't use the triangle jobs. I use the cones. So if you go and you take a
Okay.
look at Lewis and Sons, so
Yeah.
I make one like that, and just flip that upside down and put it on top of a piece of plywood. So now you have the screen, but you have it so that the bees can go in the cones, but they can't get back up. Just like you would in a regular,
Yeah.
putting
Yeah,
it
but where are you
in a regular
trapping?
Only you've got a bottom on them, so they go through and they're trapped in that small area.
Correct. And put one of those in all four corners of the apiary. And away you go. I tried those bags, and in fact, that video that Charlie brought up, you see, we had those little wasp traps. Well, believe it or not, when there's not much else going on, even though that whatever's in those wasp traps, it's kind of a brown chemical, it stinks. Um, I still ended up with those things full of honeybees. So I don't know if I'll use those again, but
Meat trimmings works great. Like
well,
raw meat trimmings.
yeah,
Yeah.
I was just thinking that bag that you saw hanging on the fence post. I don't think I'll use those again because we did end up with a bunch of honeybees in there. But this this bee escape on top of a piece of 2 by or a piece of plywood, man, that worked well because the honeybees could care less about it, but the wasps, they were all over it, and it was easier for them to get in there than it was to try and get into the
All right, so
hive.
you're putting the bee escape on top of a piece of plywood, and there's enough
Correct.
space inside that bee escape that you
Yeah,
can trap them.
exactly. I make my bee escapes. I think I make them so there's what I think it's 3 or 3.5 inches. I'd have to measure them again. But it's a fairly good gap so that when the bees, when I'm pulling honey supers, there's a place for those bees to go.
Okay.
I'll make a quick short. I can do that. Make a quick short and send that out so anybody wants to see it.
That's interesting.
I wonder if it'd work with a triangle skateboard if you put it over a medium or something and had it out there that they couldn't get out the bottom of it.
Well, I think it's the screen that, and the fact that screen has that meat scent going through there.
Okay.
I don't think you would get as much.
It wouldn't pull them down through the hole on a triangle.
Right. I don't. Well, it might, but I just don't think you'll have as much of that scent. Right.
Okay.
Yeah, because I've seen them homemade traps where they'll put a piece of bacon in there or something meat.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
Well, and
wasps are carnivores.
it's a very delicate or very delicate balance up here because, as you guys see, every one of my apiaries has got an electric fence around it. We got no shortage of black bears up in this country. So it's like, okay, how much can I put in there to attract the wasps and the hornets without attracting those big black ones, right?
Yep.
And
The
Red
big
Creek wants to know,
destructive black ones.
Yeah. What did you say, Charlie?
Red Creek wants to know, how do you kill the yellow jackets?
Oh, I just leave them in there and then set it out in the sun. They're done. Come back a day or two later. I've got hundreds of these bee escapes, right? So just take that one, let it sit out there, and put another one on top of it. Away you go. They die very quickly.
Yeah, they die in a trap real quick, and my yellow jacket traps, even though there's a little bit of meat in there, I don't know if it's because they can't get liquid, they can't get water, but they die out quick.
So
Mhm.
I won't lie. My torch managed to find some of them.
Yeah, it's like duck rabbit. He uses his torch on the hive beetles and all that stuff too.
You know, but
Do they pop like popcorn?
they do. It's amazing, eh? And those wings just snap when they go, right?
Yeah,
So, but yeah, well, you got to have some fun out there, right?
All right, Red
that's
Creek
right.
gonna try it with the triangle bee escapes.
Yeah, let us know how it works with the triangle. I don't have any triangle ones. All of mine are the
The
you know,
cones.
The nipples.
cones. Yeah,
They're down a kind of a middle track like thing.
exactly. Yep. So, but yeah, no, that was I stumbled across that, but I think I'm gonna just make a point of keeping that out there all the time.
See that, Bill? And all that. So
I can't see any of the comments because I'm on my iPad, so I apologize if anybody's
that's the
asking me
problem with
something
them
and I'm
iPads.
not replying.
That's the problem with them stink pads.
So
James, do you know what your average frost is? Your average first frost from a date standpoint?
yeah, we usually by Halloween well, we got snow on the ground by Halloween. Anything after October 1st, we could have a frost any day now. I think I'd have to go back and take a look, but I really anything after October 1st is a crapshoot.
Okay. My average frost here in central Pennsylvania is I think the average you're saying is October 10th.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, but then, it's not going to be freezing. We're not going to see snow until, usually most of the time the earliest we'd see it would be the end of November.
Oh yeah, no, we've very seldom have we not had at least one snowfall, maybe even two before the October 31st, and
Okay.
and we usually have snow on the ground by October 31st, and it's there until May.
Yeah, more often than not, I do not have a white Christmas. So,
Oh yeah, no, we very seldom get anything but.
yeah.
Now I think we have, in all honesty, I think we've had one or two. Now there's white out there somewhere, but we have had a couple that you could wear your running shoes out there. It'd be cold, but you could wear your running shoes without
Mhm.
filling your snow boots full of snow. What else can I tell you? Yeah, that's pretty much where we're at. Here's a little tidbit for you. So Charlie, he's gone, so I can say this now because he'd just be laughing at me. So the first couple years when we had 100 plus hives, we extracted with a 12 frame radial extractor, and it took us days and weeks to extract 5,000-6,000 pounds of honey.
Rumor has it that you are one extractor cranking machine.
Well, you know what we did. You know what we did this year? We did it all in about I'm going to say about 8 hours. We extracted, we started probably about 10 o'clock in the morning, and we were done that day. 5,400 pounds done in the barrels and finished all in one day. So
So, do you have an extracting line?
Yeah.
I do, yeah.
Okay.
There
what
you
does
go.
it
Now
do?
Will's looking at that.
I'm curious.
So we actually drove down to Jackson, Mississippi, to pick up a 60 frame Cowan extraction line.
Okay.
So
Okay. 60 frame. That's a good size machine. Yep.
it works well. Yep.
And then he also completely, down to the bare bones, stripped everything. It looks like a brand spanking new machine when he got
That's the way it should be.
It works pretty good. Yeah. Actually, Ian was accusing us of polishing the stainless.
As much as that thing costs, why wouldn't you? Right.
It works well. Now we did a lot of work, so I don't have a spin float. So we've got the Cowan wax spinner. So
So you're not using an extruder. You're using a spinner.
Yeah, but Cowan's got that machine that's off to the side. It spins
right.
wax
Spins
out.
it horizontally, and then you take the wax out in batches. Now, what we did this year, so when the first year we had it, we just used a clarifier on the bottom. It was basically it was
Yep.
the tank or the trough off of
The trough.
another
Yep.
another unit that we bought. So last year, what we did is we heated that trough with a steamer through copper pipes underneath the bottom of it. Everybody gave me a hard time because no, I did not have it to the CFIA standards. I just had some insulation kind of put up against it there. So our inspector gave us a bit of a hard time with that. This year, everybody can be happy to know that it is now CSA or CFIA compliant. So it is all inside of stainless steel. The bottom and the sides are heated, and our knives are heated now. What we did is we also heated our 60 frame extractor as well. So the minute the honey got spun out of the frames and hit the side of the extractor, it was warming up. So it would come
How
out
do you do that? What do you got, a water jacket extractor?
well, I am a tin basher. So
Have you ever seen anything he's made well?
No, I have not.
You got to watch. You got to look at one of his, especially that wax dipper. It looks like something some factory made.
Yeah, I saw the wax dipper. That's a hot setup for sure.
And then when the honey came out of the spinner into the clarifier, we modified the clarifying tank. So our tank is about 10 feet long, our clarifier. But the path the honey takes is probably about 15 feet. And the reason being is it comes out, it drops onto the first baffle, sends it back to the tank or to the end of the tank. And it heats up right there as well. So it comes out of the extractor a little bit warm. Now it's warming up and it's going backwards. So as it's warming up, we're getting the clarifying action. So the wax and all that is already starting to come out. It goes back, it'll drop down and come back underneath it. And then it goes over and under and over and under a set of baffles. And each one of those captures a little bit more wax. So to give...
Are you saying the first compartments you're pumping it backwards?
Correct. Well, not pumping it. It just flows backwards. Just the flow of the honey goes backwards. I'll see if Alan sent me that. I'll send you another one here, Charlie. You can bring it up because then it'll make a little bit more sense.
Yeah, I ain't quite figured out how you get the honey to go backwards.
Well, you just ask it nicely. All right. Oh, nope. I got to change this here. So
I think there's a little bit of science to the flow of those big clarifying tanks.
Well, I won't say would be the first time I've accused of re-engineering something.
Okay.
So let me see now. You had that new extraction line. You had rebuilt a honey uncapper here a couple of years ago.
The old time I call it the old time Cowan uncapper. That thing is great. We still use that. We actually use that over the Silver Queen. I find it works way better. We're going to do some modifications to that this winter too, Charlie. So we're taking out the bushings and we're changing everything all over into bearings.
So the one that you got in the extraction line, that's a cowing uncapper?
It is a Cowan, yeah, one of their first versions of their automatic feed uncapper. It is.
And then the other one is a Queen line.
It's a Cowan, but they call it a Silver Queen.
A Silver Queen, which is a later
model. Are you chain flailing now, or are you using knives?
No, I use knives. Chain flailing.
Yeah, I don't want anything to do with the chain flail.
Too much of a mess.
Yep.
All right, Charlie, you should have some new goodies there.
You don't see anything yet.
You know this is going to create a whole pile more questions for me.
There we go. All right, you sent a video?
No. Yeah, I think they were both videos. That's all I had. That was part of the short that I'm putting together.
All right, let me see something. present. Share screen, messenger.
See, I'm kind of like 3M. I don't make any of the stuff that I use. I make all of the stuff I use better.
There you go.
All right.
Hey, that's a good philosophy, though.
What can I say? Alrighty, open one of those up, and I'll try to explain it. I don't know if you'll be able to stop it as we go
Hold
there,
on
Charlie.
here. I'm trying to figure out something here.
Well, you're doing better than I am. I had to contact you to say, hey, how do I send you a photo?
Trying to make it bigger. Oh, there it is. That's better.
Bigger's always better.
All right, let me see what I can do. Share. There we go.
All right. So actually, before you even hit play there,
Right.
so this is the end where we pump the honey out, right? Kind of where the play logo is. So down on the bottom, if you see those copper pipes coming out the end,
Yep.
Yeah.
so there's two on the left, two on the right, and two on the bottom. What those do is those copper tubes go on the bottom. There's 14 passes where that goes all the way down to the end and comes back. It'll do that 14 times on the bottom, and it does it 4 times on each side. So it's not water jacketed. And the reason we did it that way is we pump that now through an on-demand hot water tank. So I can thermostatically control the temperature of that clarifier. Okay. So, and this is the finished end. So you can see how the honey comes underneath that first baffle.
Right.
It goes over top of the second, and it comes underneath the third. So, once the honey, so the honey's flowing out underneath all of that. So we're catching what wax is left in that last little compartment where it flows over that second baffle and under the third. So where that play logo is, we get pretty clean honey coming out there. So if you want to go ahead and hit play now, I'll try to explain as we go through there as to what I did. And you can see it's all 1-inch foam insulation, and then it's all completely encased in 316 stainless steel. Oh, maybe is it going to go or? Oh, maybe the other one then, Charlie. Maybe I sent you the wrong one.
Okay. All right, let me back up. Present.
Oh, look, I'm larger than life now too. I'm one big head.
And present. Share.
So as those clarifying tanks get longer, it lets you drop more into them at the beginning, basically, right?
Well, it allows me to heat the honey up a little bit better. So here we go. Now you can really see on the end. So
Yep.
those are the copper tubing that go back and forth and back and forth. And where that white spout is, that's where our valve and our honey pump goes on to there, pump it. We can pump it straight out of here now, straight into the barrels. So,
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and hit the thing.
all right. So it goes under that one, over that one, comes under this one. But you see this baffle? How it goes all the way back, and then it drops back down into the bottom of the tank. And it goes under that baffle down to the first one. So I've basically increased the length of that clarifier by about 4.5 to 5 feet. Does that make sense?
All right, let me see if I can stop something here.
So that's looking at it from the other end. So now you can see where the hole comes out down there, right there. That baffle is a horizontal baffle. 3 vertical and 1 horizontal baffle. So right where Charlie's play sign is where it comes out of the extractor and it comes out of the wax spinner, and we drop it in there. And then it comes to the left. So it comes all the way back to clarifier.
Back here, back.
No, no, actually just go back to where you were there. Keep going forward. Right there. So,
All right. So the honey is on
where
the
you're
top level.
right, and then it drops
Top
down,
level,
and
it's going back.
right, and then it
It's
drops
on
down
an-
into the
it's on an
bottom level.
angle. It's on an
It is.
angle.
It is on an angle, and the reason it's on an angle is as it comes out, I'm forcing those little, the wax and stuff like that. I'm forcing it to the top. Now all of this underneath is already full of warm honey. So the fact that that horizontal baffle is on an angle coming up, it forces the wax and everything to the top. And because it's warm, it has an extremely hard time following the honey back down. And what does follow back down has almost 5 feet to raise back up and will come across that horizontal baffle and then come back out on the top again. So I've almost got 10 feet of clarifying before I hit my first vertical baffle.
All right. So
Just back it up tiny bit.
That's
Bit
pretty
more.
badass.
There you go. Stop there. So if the honey comes in where the play sign is, okay, it can't go forward because of that vertical baffle.
right.
So don't hit play. Just move your mouse up, Charlie, up by where the play is there.
Right here.
And now I can't see your mouse. Where did it go?
Here.
There you go. Yep. So now don't hit play, but drag your mouse to the left. That's the direction. That's how the honey flows. So it comes out of.
Is it draining from the extractor into this area where I'm moving my cursor?
Yes, the extractor and the wax spinner.
And then it's moving back, and then it's going underneath this.
Correct. And then it goes
sheet metal.
And then it goes forward again.
Comes up out of here.
And correct. It comes up there, and it's got to go over that baffle.
Over that way.
So it has to go over that baffle now.
Over
and
that.
Then it has to go under that one. So now I've got another compartment that catches those wax cappings right in there, in between that baffle and the first one.
This one and that one.
Correct.
And then your clean honey will go underneath this baffle where it catches the bulk of your honey.
Correct. And
then you got a pump right there.
Correct. And I pump it from there straight into the 45-gallon drums.
So are you doing all this at floor level, or are you going to have it up on a set of legs?
No, unfortunately, because the place that I'm renting right now, that is all sits on the floor, and I've raised the extractor enough so that the 60 frame Cowan extractor and the wax spinner are high enough that they'll empty into this.
Okay.
So it does make for the one thing that it does all that. It actually it brings the extractor up to a very user friendly height. You don't have to bend over at all to fill the boxes as they come out of the outfeed table, and you don't have to bend over at all on when you're filling the extractor. Everything seems to be right at the right height. The one thing it does do is we don't have a box lifter yet, so that's one of the things we're going to work on.
I was just going to ask you whether you got a unboxer.
No, you're looking at this guy here is the box lifter. So, but one thing we have to get a box lifter in there because the old time Cowan extractor can uncap the frames faster than I could put them in there. I can't keep up to it. So what we need to do now is we need to build a bit of a conveyor line to feed the extractor and a box lifter so that, the hit of the button and I can feed it 10 frames at a time, 10 frames at a time, 10 frames at a time. Because as you lift them up, you can lift up 2 or 3 frames, usually 2, especially the weight of the frames or you're dropping them. So, 2 frames, 2 frames, 2 frames, 2 frames, and it's, it's feeding them through and uncapping them way faster than I can feed them into that old time on Cowan uncapper.
Okay. And you can tell box level. You're talking about the one that shoots the frames up out of the
Correct.
box.
Yeah, the pneumatic one. Yeah.
Yeah, the unboxer.
I've got a drawing for one here somewhere. I've got a couple ideas on that.
Yeah, I tell you, I mean, Brad talks about the price of them things, $4,000 and $5,000 for that thing, and I'm like, really? Just for something simple like that?
Yeah.
Of course, I mean, there is some engineering as far as the pistons and things like. I get the idea. Of course, I guess it's stainless also.
Yep.
So, all of that.
I enjoy working with stainless. I don't mind taking up stainless and stuff like that. I kind of enjoy it.
How does that horizontal wax spitter do? Pretty good.
It does. It seems to do better with everything heated up a little bit. But I mean, the stuff that goes into there that doesn't go through that clarifier, so it doesn't get heated up. It only basically gets heated up a little bit as it goes across the knives, and then drops down into the auger. It's not a bad.
Auger. It's got honey in the auger part,
Mhm.
like I see it in. So is it pumping that over to that honey or that extractor, like that spin float?
Well, Ian's does. Ian's pumps the wax, the honey, and everything over the spin float. Mine augers it out of there into the wax spinner, and a huge benefit that one Ian's got over mine is Ian's will go do it continuously. Mine, I've got to do it in batches, and if I had more time, I think it would work really, really good. So it ends up being a little bit wet, simply because we push the frames through full so fast that auger bin will fill up. So we're scraping the wax out, and if we're shooting another batch into that thing before it really has a chance to spin all of the honey out of it. And we're doing that because I know I'm losing a little bit of honey, but it comes back now. What is time versus the honey that I'm going to get? So, we're still looking for a spin float. I won't lie. I think that is still something that we're going to continue to look for.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing with Ian and you have that spin float. There's a balance from what I gather. You got to have a constant flow for that thing to really work properly.
Yeah, I can't comment on it. I haven't had one, so I'd love one, but I haven't got one. That's the only thing we have left to do is melt our cappings, and we'll melt and render our cappings here probably this coming weekend. Otherwise, everything else is done. We're ready to put them in the barn.
Yeah. But, so you still got your heated barn and cooled barn too.
What's that?
I say you got it heated and cooled.
Correct.
Like Ian does now.
Well, Ian's is a proper setup. Mine is a farmer setup. But it works. So, right. The difference is I'm renting a building. If I was owning my building, I'd do the same thing Ian did. I'm glad Ian went that way. So I was trying to tell him for a long time that's the way to go. There's a cost for it, though. Don't get me wrong. That stuff doesn't come cheap.
Nightland.
Nightland.
Yeah, I mean, heating and cooling that building, that's a cost factor.
We're fortunate up here. So most of the winter, all we need are fans to keep it cold. As long as we can regulate the fan speed and distribute that cold air coming in properly. It's early in the fall and early in the spring that get us. Late fall we got the natural air cooling. Early spring when things start to warm up, and late fall when things start to cool down. That's really what gets us up here. So.
Yeah. Have you talked to Brad any?
I haven't had a chance to. We used to have a little bit of a chat and stuff like that. I haven't even had a chance to do that. I've really been focusing on on growing these bees, and I've been focusing on, I got a couple other things there too. I'm trying to work a little bit towards retirement. So I mean, as you know, I bought a boat, so I've been working on trying to get that fixed up and everything too. And at the end of the day, there's only so many hours. So
Yeah.
unfortunately, I do. Well, I had a tendency. I just no time. So unfortunately, that kind of slipped
Well, I
a
mean,
little bit.
Brad's been having a tough go for the last couple of years trying to rebuild, and he did,
Rebuilding's not easy. It's a lot of work.
yeah, he was doing
It
a lot of queen rearing this year. That seemed to be pretty successful. He had
yeah
a gal there that was kind of, he was mentoring slash some help for him,
yeah.
and that seemed to be good for him.
Well, it's and like I said, it's a lot of work, and it's hard work. I mean, um, Leah here, I'm quite fortunate because I'd come home from work and I'm gone. You know, get home around 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night, and you're crawling into the shower and into bed, and you're up to this full time job, and you get home, you have a bite to eat, and you're gone. So, I mean, it 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 it's a lot of work trying to rebuild like this to try and understand where you're at, and it's much easier to have that high B number where you know what you got to go and do, you just go and do it. Right now, you're trying to build those things. You're trying to read the genetics. You're trying to, find enough bees to build a starter finisher. You're trying to rob from the rich to give to the poor to get these things going. You got to requeen,
I think
breeding.
the biggest thing that you have going for you, the fact that you had that one hive and you had the genetics in that queen.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Yeah, without
that
a
was
doubt.
the game changer right there. In order to that you had that, in order to give you those kinds of patterns and stuff.
Yep. Oh yeah, I'm very very
I know
fortunate.
we've
And
talked about the queen thing for me, and I don't know why I listened in on in my conversations, but
I have.
last year, I put all brand new queens in, and I had 1,000 pounds of honey out of,
Hmm.
I don't know, let's say 14 hives or something like that, and it was a good year too. It was the year went well, and I was scrambling, as far as putting in nukes, rebuilding about like you to a point, and all that, and like um, what's his name was here. He talked about young queens making more honey and all that kind of stuff. Rick Sutton, and I experienced that. And then I picked your brain along with a whole bunch of other people about requeening every 2 years.
2 years.
And then this year was the second year for them queens, and I do
Ye-
that brood rotation. What you guys don't, but it helps me. I alleviate the swarms. I increase my honey production with a smaller amount of beehives.
Yeah, I was gonna say you can do that with fewer hives, right?
Right.
You
But I mean,
can't
I
do that
can
with
get
hundreds
more
of
out of
hives.
I can get more out of per hive because I can get more honey out of a smaller amount of bees
Yep.
hives. So what I seen this year is that instead of frames of brood like you had there, from corner to corner, now it's starting to shrink in.
And
And you got
that's
honey here and honey here.
now you're starting
Now
to see the second year, right?
I'm seeing the second year. She's slowing down. She's not laying every hole up she can lay in like she did the first year. Now I was 150 pounds shy this year, but weather conditions, it rained when the locust trees were in bloom, so I don't get much of that good honey. But I still did 850 some pounds, which I'm real happy with that because of the year. And then I also started to see some of them queens fail on me
Hmm.
through middle of the honey season. So I've kind of come to the conclusion, because of the way I manage my hives, I'm burning them queens out faster
But
than the
that's the
two.
name. That's what you want to do, right? I hate to say it, but you want to convince them to lay. Bees equal honey, plain and simple. The more bees you got in the hive, the more honey they're going to bring in. A fresh new young queen is going to be more energetic. She's going to lay better than an old one. I mean, take a look at us. We're getting older. We're not as active, right? But you
In a
know,
lot of ways.
yeah. So, but I'm a firm believer, and as you get higher and higher number of hives, um, you're gonna find that a little bit harder. So I mean, what you need to do, or what I'd recommend, Charlie, is how many hives you got now? 15, 20?
I got it. Well, that was another thing I did was last year I went up from 12 to 16
Okay.
production hives.
Yep.
This year I said, well, I don't need a dozen nukes. So I said, let's go up to 18 production hives and 8 nukes for backup.
Yep.
And that's where I'm at now. And
So
that decreased the over total amount of bee hives that I have to 20. As much as 26.
right.
I think I got about 25 right now.
So even if you took an average and say 20 hives, I know you know how to graft and everything like that. So if you made yourself 10 queens for yourself every year and replace half of them this year and then replace the other half next year, now what you're going to do is rather than your honey flow do this because your bee population and now it's going to level off because those new queens are going to offset the old queens and your honey production is going to level out. Now what you're starting to do is you're starting to manage your honey production through your queens.
Yeah.
And it reduces your workload. So if you only have to do half of them, right, you don't end up with a year where you got excess, and it's easier on you. It's just easier.
Well,
on the
that's what I
beekeeper
did. I started. I went down to Bill's there and learned how. I visualized the amount of bees that you needed to be in that cell builder, and I came home, made a nuke, made a cell builder up, started grafting again this year, and that was one of the things I got out of the nuke business per se, and got back into queens and honey.
Yep.
And I did well in raising my queens
Yep.
as far as grafting goes and stuff like that. Now mating was difficult.
Yeah,
This
we
year.
had we had we had a hard
I
time
did it in
mating
a
up
lot
here
of
this year.
different ways. I either dropped a fresh queen that was in there. I waited a week where she was mature, and I did it that way. I did have some mating boxes out there. I need to really just working with the cell builder. I did a lot of tweaking
Yep.
and learning on myself as far as, hey, you don't drop this or something that's just a little bit of a little tap like that,
Done.
you're done.
Yep.
You learned that the hard way. And then I got these easy peasy cages which work well, and it's a different system that works with JZBZ cage stuff.
Cups. Yeah.
And so I got that kind of tweaked in. Now next year is I got to get my mating boxes, and I was talking to some local commercial guys, and after they said it, I'm like, well, yeah, that's what I used to do, and I used to put cells in there
Yep.
and let them hatch out, and they
Yep.
had a higher acceptance rate and mating rate. And I used to do it that way, and I thought if I put a virgin in, I don't have to worry about looking whether or not that cell hatched.
Nope.
And
I don't. I same as you, Brad. Brad has no problem walking these virgins in. I can try that, and I've got less than 50% acceptance every single time. I can literally have this queen cell in my hand when she hatches out, and walk her into the hive, and
don't work.
but those little mating nukes that I got. So
Yeah.
basically, the size of a medium super. I got 4 mating nukes in there, and they're all individual boxes. Those things work fabulous this year.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Absolutely
Because
incredible.
you got a deep box with 4 compartments.
A medium. No, so it's a medium, and each one of them are 4 little boxes. I can literally pick this little box up, and here's the benefit of that. Especially when you come to the end of the year. So I've got some queens that I want to replace. I can pinch that queen off. I can literally pick that whole little box up. I can walk it over. I can pull my feeding plug out, drop a piece of paper towel down, and set that box on top of the hive. And I've just papered a new queen into that hive and walk away.
I'd like
know.
to see that, James.
Oh, is that slick? That is though. I mean, no, you're not. You're not bugging the queen. You're not bugging the little new mating nuke. Now, and it's so small. Like when I was making the queens, there's what 5 frames in there. You can pull out the 2 outside frames because they're usually honey, right? You're left with 3 little frames about this long, about 6 inches long. The depth of a medium super. You can find that queen like this. She can't run away on you. It's easy to catch her. It's easier to cage her. You're in and out of this little mating nuke in like 2 to 3 minutes tops, right? Oh, that is so slick.
But now you take them small frames and put them in you paper it into a big 10-frame box.
Oh no, I just grab that whole box, that whole little mating nuke box. I'll close off the disc on the front so that they can't come in. I literally pick that whole box up, Charlie. I'll walk over to the hive that I want to requeen. I'll pull my feeding plug out of the top of the box, throw a piece of paper towel on, and just set her on there and walk away.
You're talking about on top of the
feed hole.
The feeding hole.
the
top
feed
lid.
hole in your migratory lid.
Absolutely. Right?
So then they'll go down into that hole.
Right. And the good news is I can pinch that queen off, put the lid back on, pull the plug, put the paper towel on, and drop that on same day. Walk away, think nothing of it. It'll take a couple days to chew through that paper towel. And by then, they've already known they're queenless. And
So
because you're chewing
not
through it,
newspaper, but paper towel.
paper towel, yeah. Now they're papered together. She walks in down there and she never stops laying. She never stops, from the mating nuke right into the new hive, never stops laying.
Well, I think
But your mating nuke is modular and fits inside a medium super.
No, my mating nuke is made the size of 1/4 of a medium super.
And does it lift out of that medium super?
There is no medium super. It's just
Oh,
four of those little modular pieces
Squeezed
make up the same size as a medium super. Yep.
it's 4 little individual boxes.
Yep.
Right. But
Yep.
So you could set that on top of a colony and that would they would draw the comb more aptly, right?
Well, exactly. That's what we did. So
Yep.
when you're trying to draw that comb,
Trying to get it started.
You put 4 of them on top of there, and they just come on up and they draw the comb and away they go. And guess what? When you're looking for bees to fill those little mating nukes, it's already full.
Yeah, the nurse bees are already on it from the brood that they're putting up there.
You're already done. Like, it is so slick. So
you're saying if you got a fresh mating box and got the frames in there, but they're just foundation, you're putting it over the feeding hole so they can come up.
No, I'm putting 4 of them on there. So now it looks like it's just another box on. So I'll literally go to where I'll take my top off, right? And now you're sitting there looking right at your super, right on top of your brood box, right? You take 4 of these things, you put them right on top. They fit the same size. You throw your lid back on and walk away. The queen comes up, they'll lay in there, they'll do whatever, they'll fill all that up. And you come back a week later, you literally pick those 4 boxes off, you put it on a pallet, walk away. You got your bees, you got your brood, you got your comb, you got your feed, you got pollen, you got honey, you got your mating nuke done.
I'm smelling a nugget, Charlie.
Ready to drop a queen cell in there, and you're done.
I'm smelling a nugget that you make these because there's been so many guys talking about queen castles and this and that and the other thing. Where here having the 4 individual little boxes that fit into the profile that'll sit right on top. That's the hard part about these mini mating nukes is putting a couple bees in them and getting them to draw it out. Where James has that whipped.
Well, and you put that couple of bees in it, and guess what? They don't stay.
Yeah, they take off.
No, they're going to leave.
But
with what you're doing, those nurse bees are going to stay because they're on brood.
Well, and as far as they know, that's home.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and I just leave the disc closed for a couple days. So when you do open the disc up, they're going to relocate, and and away they go.
The only thing is you just have to make sure when you pull those boxes off, the queen's not in one of them.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. Here, do I have it right here?
That's pretty tricky. That's a nugget, Charlie. That is
Yeah.
a nugget, brother.
Okay,
And
here.
they're a medium size, so it'll work with your gear, Charlie.
Well, you got to make the frames though.
Yep.
How do you make?
You got to make the boxes and the frames, probably, but
Well, you can see that on my channel too. I made that little jig to make the frames. What did I make? I made something like 6,000 N bars in an afternoon. You know. All right, here we go. Here it comes, Charlie. Oh, I got to add that.
I'm
I got to select
smelling
more
nugget.
photos.
Because you were using what, a 2-frame box, weren't you, Charlie?
Yeah, something I made.
And I got this. This isn't my idea, just for the record. I can't take.
Wasn't that Brad's or
I
something?
can't take credit for it. This was something that Brad had sent me.
Let's see. Present.
Do you or Brad have videos on this, James?
I think I do have a video on this. Yep.
Okay.
And you'll see a video on how I made the frames and stuff too. So there you go. And it fits right on my pallets. So I still use I still use the same pallet. I use the same lids. Now I do have a piece of 3/8 plywood and the foil, the size of the mating nukes underneath that lid.
All right, so I remember him talking about this building these things. How wide are these boxes or frames? Are these boxes are inside 5 or 6?
There's 1, 2. There's 3. There's 5 frames inside of each box.
All right, now
Are they 5.5-inch, 5.5 frame boxes, James, or are they just a full regular 5-frame box?
No, you still have the same B space in there. So those 5 frames are pretty loose in there.
Okay.
Now, James, is that those 7/8 boxes?
or US 3/4? Yeah. So these boxes are made out of 3/4 inch material.
Okay, because I mean that's the difference, guys. Remember, Canadians use 7/8.
Yeah. These are actually built out of a 1. I think it's a 1x6 or 1x8. So
Yeah,
they're
it's
the
3/4.
same. Yeah. They're the same depth as a medium super.
All right, so you're putting in a full medium frame in there.
No, you see
No,
how there's
they're
4 in
half.
the front? There's
Yeah.
also 4 in the back. There's 8 mating boxes on that pallet.
How?
Yeah, that's a 2-way.
They're a full medium depth, but they're a half-size frame.
Correct. Lengthwise is half.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that pallet has 8 mating boxes on it. The one behind it has got another 8 mating boxes. So there's 16 mating nukes right there.
So, James, is that a 2-way pallet that's set up special for your mating?
No, it's a standard 2-way pallet. I just made little pieces to go on the bottom to block
Oh,
in
okay. To fill
the
that
front.
entrance. Yep.
Correct. And then
Hey,
and then
So,
underneath
James, are they sharing a feeder?
No, if I was
No.
going to feed them, I'd have to take that first lid off, and each one of those would have its own feeder bottle.
Okay.
Tell Brad to come
That's
on.
pretty
He can
cool.
probably explain.
Hey,
it a whole
Brad,
lot
come
better.
on in here.
But yeah, this, and it works slick because, like I say, you can put them on top of a regular hive. Get them drawn out.
You can use your 2-way pallet. You can use a migratory lid. There's a lot of cool to this.
Everything,
Yeah, there is.
Everything fits. Everything fits.
And that little 2-way pallet's got 8 mating nukes on it. That is
Correct.
really cool.
Correct.
And you can pick it up with your hive lifter when you get the bars.
Absolutely. And you know what? You can stack them to move them, and they interlock to move them around.
Just like a regular one. Yep. Because they're
Yeah.
running the migratory lids.
Same lids, same box, same pallet. Everything fits. So I'm eliminating what I need for equipment.
So everybody gets crazy talking about these 4-way queen palaces. Well, here you are in a 2-way pallet, and you've got 8. You know what I
Correct.
mean? Wow.
Correct.
And Go to Brad's. I think Brad shows how he made these things.
I think
I'm
he's
gonna
got a
have to
video
check
on it.
that
Yes.
out.
He's got a video on them, right, Brad?
There's one on my page too. Brad's got one where he actually goes down and he explains the dimensions and the widths and the heights. And I think mine, I've got it where I'm just kind of putting them together. And I did show you how I made the frames themselves for inside. I made a little
All right.
jig and
Another thing is you know, we all they all uh you know you got four entrances there, and we're talking about, you know, some people put them in circles. I know Brad had his videos here this year when he was putting out mating boxes in them nukes, and they were kind of like in a five nuke circle.
yep.
And do you find any problems with drifting as far as the right queen going back to where she was supposed to go?
I haven't because these boxes get filled from those beams. No, from the bees that are there. And you notice I don't have any two colors the same
Yeah, I get
for
that part,
the discs.
for the
So
disc.
I that definitely helps. But no, I haven't had issues with drift from one side to the other. No, I
Now I'm
also
talking
haven't.
about like where the queen's coming back. She doesn't go in the
No,
right hot.
these things worked awesome this year. I'd come back and I'd have a queen in each box. Now, once again, my return this year was only just over 50%. But and it didn't matter whether it was these mating nukes. As you can see, there's a three-way pallet behind that. So I had the same return of queens on a three-way pallet as I did these mini mating nukes. So I think that was just the predators that were out there or the environment.
Like you say though, you can put four boxes on top of an existing hive,
And away you go.
and the bees will come up into those boxes
Yep,
because it looks like an
Draw it, lay
extension.
it.
yep.
It
Draws it, lays it, everything.
draws
Yep.
it, lays it out, whatever,
And the bees are there. So when you pick
and the
that
bees
box
are
up,
there taking care of everything. So it's all their smells, I guess you would call it.
correct.
And then you can pull them off, put them on another bottom board or pallet,
Put them on a pallet and away you go.
and then you just drop cells in.
Correct.
Now, are they going to draw emergency cells?
No, because what you do is you put your queen excluder on and you leave it for 3 days before you pull the box off. So now there's no egg in there that they can draw an emergency cell from.
That's pretty sneaky. Another nugget.
So you're putting the queen excluder on, and you're going to leave it 3 days or 7 days?
No, I'll leave it 3 days. So
Okay.
it'll end up being 4, right? So
It's
So
Old
the egg
Valley
sac.
Farms, Chad. Right?
so basically what you're going to do is they're only going to make a queen out of an egg or something like that that's viable. So if you leave the queen excluder on for 3 days, I'll go out there and I'll place the queen excluder on Tuesday or Wednesday. I'll move these things on Saturday. So call it 3 days, 4 days. And then by the time you move them, it's going to take them about 24 hours before they realize that they're queenless, right? Some people say they recognize it right away. They're not going to draw an emergency queen cell. So now everything that there has been hatched for at least 3 days.
Okay.
Or not hatched. Everything has been laid in there at least 3 days prior, 4 days prior, right? So they've already started feeding them worker jelly. So I've never had an emergency cell drawn in there by doing it that way, using the queen excluder, leaving it there for those, Tuesday, Wednesday, pull it on Saturday, Sunday, drop them in there. And I usually am dropping a cell, pretty quick at the same time, right? Keep in mind, I do most of my work on the weekends, right? And the queen is emerging. If I drop a cell in there on Saturday, the queen's usually emerging Saturday night, Sunday morning. She's a virgin, and away they go. So it works. It works really, really well.
Brad wants to know, where did you learn that trick, James?
Well, I said everybody. It was this was Brad's idea. Brad was the one that gave me the boxes and stuff. Now he showed me the boxes. I had to figure
And
the other
here's
stuff out.
the link right there, Will.
Yep, I see it.
Um, uh, so now, all right, you got your queen. She comes and gets mated. And then you go in there and cage her with attendants.
Yep,
And then either put her in another big, production hive or whatever.
correct.
And then you're going to drop. And then after you've done all this, you got them bees are established in their own little,
Their own little colony. That's
their
what
own
it
little
is.
colony. Then you just drop another cell in and you're good to go again.
And I go all over again. You got her. And
There
I
you
did
go.
that all. I did that all summer long. And then in the fall here, so now I've changing some queens out, or I've taken some bulk bees and made another hive. I literally pick that whole little box up, that little colony up with that mated queen in there. I go over, I pull the feeder plug out of the top of that where I put those bulk bees, or if I'm replacing a queen, I'll pinch that queen off, throw the lid back on, pull the feeder plug out, put a paper towel down, drop that box on top of it, and away you go. She never stops
Now
laying.
you got a individual lid for each one of those boxes then?
Correct. It's just a little piece of, I think it's 3/8 or half-inch plywood.
Just a regular migratory thing.
Yeah.
And then you got the original lids right there that normally
Fit right, fit,
fit on
exactly.
your hive.
Fit right on top for moving. And once again, the benefit to that at the end of the year here, or if you're requeening, I can pinch that queen. The queen that's in this little mating nuke is still laying in that box. So when they finally make it through the paper, through the paper towel, they've already been papered together. She'll go down and she'll start to lay in that box instantly.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've also heard with that nugget right there, I'll say, is that when you can take and introduce a laying queen and she'll be accepted right away versus a caged queen.
Correct.
Yeah, that's the big deal of this, is that she can keep laying and cooking right along.
Correct.
Yeah.
If you put her in a cage, she's going to stop laying for probably 3-4 days, whatever it takes them to chew that candy out.
And then she'll, like I say, she'll go downstairs.
Yep.
Have you had them not go downstairs, or you had to?
No, never had that problem. Every time I'd go back, the biggest problem I have is if I come back there, if you leave it on there for a week or two, well, the brood is hatched out, and now they filled that little thing full of honey, and they don't spin out so well.
So if you put her in a cage, though, James, wouldn't that be considered doing a brood break as far as your mite control goes?
You could, but what's the difference? You're going to have a brood break there anyways.
True.
What's the difference whether you put her in a cage for 3 days or they take 2 to 3 days to get through that paper towel? The only difference is she's going to continue to lay.
True.
Well, like you said, now when you're putting that on that production hive, you're going to go in there first and kill the original queen.
Correct. I'll pinch the original
put
queen.
the lid back on, put a piece of paper, a cheap piece of paper towel.
Hey, I work in a pulp and paper mill, man. Nothing but the best. This has got to be like a Bounty brand. No, of course it's the cheapest thing. Dollar store, man.
And put that on there. Put your box on top of that. Put the lid on there. They chew through in the next 3 days or so. She
Yep.
just walks on down in there, and of course that hive in the bottom is queenless, and they're like, "Yay, we got ourselves."
And as they chew through that paper, they're already spreading her pheromone, right? They're already spreading that. So by the time they get it to the point where the bees can walk through, her pheromone's already been spread through that hive.
Right.
That makes sense.
I'm gonna build me a half dozen of them pallets next year.
I have. What do we got? I think I have. Well, I was really kind of trying to ramp up my queen breeding there last year. I believe I've got 80 or 100 of these little mating nukes made, and I fully plan on making another 100.
Yeah, I could build 6 pallets and be at a capacity of 48 queens.
Sounds enticing, doesn't it?
Yeah, you're screwing with my head pretty
I
good.
could do, for me, see now, James, this was one of my problems. Is here I have sales for queens, and it's always I can't. I can make, let's say 20, like one time this year, 20 out of 30 cells.
Yeah.
Got 28 cells. Well, I got to have 28 boxes right away to put them cells into. And it's like with here, I could have 32 boxes on 4 pallets.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, you could, but even if, let's say, Charlie, even if you had just 10 of them, you could bank those virgins and breed them, 10 at a time.
Yeah. But what I'm getting at is you probably could sell
Oh, I
5 to 10 mated queens a week.
absolutely. I could have sold every queen that I made up here this year. I had lots of people come looking for queens, but I didn't sell any. Um, I used every queen I had, and this takes a whole lot less bees as well. And this is what really was a key to me, growing as fast as I did this year. These little boxes were really a key contributor for me. Didn't take a lot of bees, were easy to manage, didn't need any new equipment, and I could drop cells in them and I could turn them around relatively quickly.
Yeah, the big thing is like you say, dropping them on top of a hive, and the hive
Does all the work.
does all the work for you.
Yep.
Populates, wax drawn, brood, the whole 9 yards.
Yep.
And all you have to do is pull them back off, put them on two frame, or
A regular pallet bottom.
yeah, well, 2-way pallet body.
James, is there any reason why you couldn't use a deep configuration of this?
I don't think there's any reason as to why you couldn't use a deep. But my biggest problem up here, though, is I don't have the material to make a deep box up here. So that would be a special order to get the material.
Oh, okay.
Where these made out of standard 1x6, 1x8 type thing, I can get that anywhere.
Yeah, but Will, down here, it's very readily available. We could do the deep boxes down here.
Yeah.
Yep.
You could.
I mean, I'm gonna do this in a deep box configuration.
Yeah, but you know who I'm thinking about.
Yeah, I know. He could do a nice job with that.
Yeah, he could.
Does he make pallets?
No,
Because
you'd have to take him the pallets, but he would do the rest.
Because I'm seeing to do these pallets, if you set them up just for this,
Now you got to
probably use a U clip instead of a
W clip.
Yeah, you might put W's in the middle and then U's in the middle between the two.
Yeah.
James, have you played with that at all?
I don't have. The only place there's clips. So this is a standard pallet. So between the purple and the green, there's a U clip in the front. There's a U clip in the front, and there's a U clip in the back. The 4 on the outside don't require anything.
Okay, but you could put U clips on them as well.
You could. It's just an added cost.
Right.
I transport them like this, and part of the reason I don't think you need anything is when you transport them, your strap goes over top of that lid. It pinches down on that outside, and they don't move.
So you say you got clips on the center.
It's literally, guys, it's a standard pallet. It is a 2-frame It's the same pallet I use on all of my hives. It's the
Okay, so I mean, I'm not used to using pallets. So
Yep.
you got a U clip in the middle when you're putting two 10-frame boxes on there.
Yep.
It holds them from sliding off.
Yep. Like that is a standard pallet. I don't make special pallet bottoms for these mating nukes. I do make an interlocking cross, if you will, that fills in the bottom of the pallet, so it still raises it up to give it the
Yeah,
meat
you've
space
got to have
underneath,
that. Yep.
right? And it blocks off the entrance, so they where the standard pallet has an entrance in and out of there, so it blocks that entrance off, and it divides the boxes in the bottom.
So you got a shim underneath so they don't
Correct.
go underneath the boxes.
And that lifts off. So that's literally just, well, it's three pieces. That's three pieces of 1x4 that I ripped down. I think I ripped them down 2 inches wide. I mitered it out so that they interlock together so that they can't shift once they're put in, and it converts my standard pallet into a mating nuke box. So I don't know if a lot of people know, that's how I first met Brad, is when I decided I was going to go commercially. I didn't like the 4 frames out there. I knew I wanted to move some of these things around. I didn't know Brad. I didn't know Ian. I didn't know anybody at that time. And I reached out to Brad to, even though he had this on his page and stuff, and I don't know, that's just the way I am. But I reached out to Brad and said, "Hey, do you mind if I copy your palette design?" And that's really how I met Brad. And then from there, I met Ian, and everything just kind of grew, right?
Well, Brad, he developed that interlocking where Ian uses when they're stacking pallets on top of the lids, they all interlock, so everything stays on there.
Yeah, next time Brad's on here, ask him this. It's a really neat story because things kind of, like that clarifier. I didn't make the clarifier; I just made it better. You know, I'll let Brad tell it because it is a really neat story.
Yeah.
Well, there's some pretty interesting stuff going on there, because just looking at that pallet with using a U clip in the middle, you're gaining a little bit of space there that
Absolutely.
helps you add that, some of those additional. Yeah, no, there's a little bit of stuff going on there. That's pretty. I think that's really cool.
Brad said he'll be on here in a couple minutes. He's got video rendering. But yeah, I mean, he developed that interlocking pallet system that Ian uses.
Yeah, and you can almost see it there because he's got the bottom rail of the pallet that sits on the ground would interlock with those migratory covers with the cleats on the top, and that's how that locks together real nice.
Absolutely, and you can.
And then didn't you modify that, James, where you got a wider piece in the back? Something about when raising them boxes up, so they don't flip off or something.
A little bit, yep.
But yeah, that would. Well, for me, the mediums would be just fine. That fits my whole.
Yeah, the medium thing's real attractive for you, I'm sure.
Just keep in mind, if you're going to make them out of a deep, it'll be bigger. Not saying it's any better or worse. It'll be more surface area to find that queen on.
Yep.
And even that's one of the things that I really quite like about these is they're small enough. You can pick it out. You can find that queen in no time.
Why would you want the deeps, Will? Because remember, they're half frames. They're not full frame.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I guess you wouldn't have to go with a deep.
There's that added cost.
Yeah, but I mean, you're not thinking it's not like a full frame deep, lengthwise.
Well, and here's the other thing. So here's the other thing with these guys too. The foundation in there, I get three frames out of every piece of foundation. So not 2. So where you would normally have, say you're cutting that in half, I actually cut the foundation in thirds, so there's a little bit of a gap on both sides. They fill that in very, very quickly, but one piece of foundation makes me 3 frames. So I'm just spreading that cost out a little bit more, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Now you're using plastic foundation, right, James?
Correct.
So because they're a little shorter, because you're using that natural wax.
On both sides, just like Brad's story frame.
Okay, so that bees like it better that way.
They seem to. I don't know if they like it better or not. It. I was just trying to think once again, how can I make that dollar go a little bit further? I'm Irish. I'm cheap. What can I say?
Right. Well, like myself, I've got
Look, looking at that picture, I got to re-depth that lid.
medium 2-frame boxes, which are fine. And I got room, that I'm going to go ahead and take out down. There we go. I got space in there as far as, being able to slide them sideways to pick them up and all that stuff.
There's a little bit of space in there. So,
but
you know,
my problem I had this year is just what you said. You try to dump bees in there, and you try to find some frames of brood in there to put in there. Now you're taking it away from your production hives, because I'm pulling brood up onto the top for them to hatch out and, make more honey for me. I'm pulling resources out. And then with this here, I could throw that all on top and let them, do all that work for me.
Absolutely. Make it simple.
And like you say, they'll stay there.
So,
and all that.
That's the name of the game.
So
have the bees do the work. I just want the profits.
I know what you mean here. Every time I turn around, it's like I'm trying to get some profit, and then I got to buy something.
Yep.
It seems like, James, down here, or at least in this area, everybody's trying to make these queen castles, and I've seen them in the 4-square configuration like you're talking about, only they make it so complex because they try to keep it in one box, and then they try to use the feeders in the middle to try to do some of the separation. They're incorporating a feeder into it, and then there's all kinds of clearance in and out. And I just think you could easily just have your top covers, your 4 individual top covers, like you're saying, that you could put a jar on them.
Yeah, so I literally, so that it fits underneath my lid, my interlocking lid. They're literally just a piece of plywood cut the size of that box. With a hole
and then the other part of it is, you could put a medium on there, and then you could have all those jars contained that they wouldn't even be opened, everything.
Absolutely.
For robbing.
Yep. Absolutely. Evening, Brad. Long time no see.
Oh, I can't hear you.
Switch the button.
Don't let him give you a hard time. You sound fine, Brad. You never sounded better. Miss me yet?
Are you there, Brad? Are you plugged in?
So we just realized some of the good thought and engineering of Brad mastering this, and he's got to sit there in silence and can't talk to us. Isn't that ironic?
Oh, priceless.
About now.
He's trying. I see him madly looking and clicking.
You know,
Because I've watched.
as long as you don't see the computer do this.
Yeah, right. I've watched Brad's videos on making these two-way pallets and incorporated a whole bunch of those ideas into mine.
Sign language? Yeah. What do you mean you're flying the coop? Oh wait, my interpretation might be off. Too funny. Well, while he's trying to figure that out, I'm going to go get another drink.
Wow, another night of nuggets flying all over the place, guys. You know it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to get a drink. I'll be back.
Yeah, I don't know, Bill. I don't know if mediums or deeps. Mediums would give you a little bit more room on those frames and a little bit more room for her to lay.
Yeah, you're right. And that way you wouldn't have to pull her out of there as soon when she gets back. You give her a couple days to get herself adjusted and let her lay a few frames up.
Well,
And,
plus when you set it on top of the hive and the other queen comes up to load them up, there's going to be more food. There's going to be more brood. There's going to be more nurse bees.
Yeah, you're right.
Frankly, that's a significant part of why I haven't really even that's part of the time consuming part I was thinking with raising queens was having to screw around, with either using a 5-frame nuke, you know what I mean, as a mating box, or trying these. I have a bunch of those mini mating styrofoam things, but it's like you start looking at them and there's so much crap to it, and then
you got
dumping bees and all this crap where
those
like
little those separate mini mating nukes. They are a pain to get bees to stay in.
Well, that's just it. And this way, you could just sit that right on top of a colony and leave it there till they get it all drawn out and all full of everything.
That's why I use those extra wide 5-frame boxes for mating nukes.
There's some tricks to what they're doing there, because using a U clip instead of a W clip in the middle gives you some more width, to make that work. Because what you're actually doing is you're adding 2 pieces of 3/4 wood there, you know what I mean, into that whole configuration. But with using a U clip in the middle, you gain a little bit there, so you're gaining a little. And I understand what he's saying, that you get 3 pieces because 3/8 of an inch bee space plus 3/8 of an inch on the side frame of the of the frame. Well, until you multiply that times 4, that's what, 1.5 inches. You know what I mean? So no, there's a whole lot. I mean,
the advantage to doing them like that is at the end of queen season, you either make them full-fledged nuke hives, or you move those bees into a hive that need the help, right?
Yep.
And then you come along with your skid steer and you stack them up, put them in your storage building, and they're there for the winter.
Yep. That's the way. I'm thinking I make and I know what James is saying, that he just puts extra bars to put in there and stuff like that. But I think I would just if I built 6 pallets specifically with the flat bars on the bottom and closing those entrances off, and
that's 24 mating.
In all honesty, Bill, you don't need all that perimeter stuff like you normally have on a pallet. You could put it right down on the, right down on the floor, right down on the deck.
Yeah.
Because you're not making an entrance.
Yeah, because your entrance is you've got a disc for an entrance.
Yep. Yep. So you wouldn't need all those little bars that rot away and go bad and give you your different entrances.
Exactly. You just drop it down on the deck and you're good.
Yeah.
Brad's back.
Well, maybe.
Oh,
Yeah,
he's
you are.
here.
We
We
can
have
hear you
voice.
now.
Woohoo!
Oh, yeah.
I'm in the middle of restarting my computer, so I thought I'd grab the mobile.
So you're being recognized for all the good things that you did and figuring this whole thing out, and you couldn't communicate with us. That's got to
Yeah.
be a sweet little torture there.
Yeah, this is kind of crazy.
It's like Brad's going to say, well, it's about time I did this a year ago.
Yeah. No, you know what? There's I don't think there's anything that make a guy feel better than to have somebody be able to use some of the ideas that you come up with. It's really it's really flattering.
Well, I think the biggest thing is like I've seen that video that you did that back then, and I'm like, yeah, okay. But at the time, I wasn't really into making queens at that point. I mean, I have done it in the past, but I wasn't doing it at that point in time. And then experiencing the problems of getting mass production up,
Yeah.
of mating at the mating end of it. I figured out the first part of it this year. And now all this stuff
There it is.
kind of comes together, you know?
Yeah. Those little boxes are fun to make. They're super easy.
I've been framed though.
You've been framed. We didn't want to put you in a box, James.
So I mean, this is how simple it is. Like, I mean,
So you're just
Yeah.
rabbit jointing those.
Just rabbit joints and yeah,
where's my camera?
Wow.
just three, and the sides are plain, and the ends just have 3 rabbits. The top rabbit is a little bit wider than the side ones. It's a 5/8 instead of 3/4.
You even put handles in the side.
Well, and that's key.
That's
Believe
nice.
it or not, that is key when you go to lift these things off of the pallet. That and all I did is I just used the dado blade,
Yep.
right? And but that's really kind of key when you go to lift them off and you put them over. But that's all there is. You know, the frames sit on there just like a normal box.
Yeah, it was and I kind of stole that design too, but it was just a box, and it's 1/4 the size of a 10 frame Langstroth box. So
Why is it
Or-
I can't go into the wood shop without getting covered in dust?
it's man glitter. It's called man glitter.
Well, in that case,
Well, let's see now. Look like to me when you're butt jointing them, well, not a butt joint. It's more of a
It's a rabbit joint.
rabbit. So you'd have to have a joint there that's 3/4 wide.
Yeah.
I
The-
got cutters for that.
I just use a dado blade.
Yeah,
but
dado blade on a
set
table
up
saw.
my mold. I could set up my molder and just run boards.
You still cut your frame rest at 5/8 though, James?
Yeah, exactly.
So the side rabbit is a little wider than the top. The top is 5/8, the side's a 3/4.
Yeah.
But I can make where the other boards butt in as a rabbit. I've got Chad's trying to come in.
Easy peasy. Yeah, they couldn't be anything simpler than making those little boxes.
Oh, and you know what? You get so many of them out of a board too.
Yeah.
So
I'm
and
almost there.
Those discs I just got off of the Amazon, you know. So I mean they're not expensive to make by any stretch of the imagination.
I don't know what you're paying. I've never looked at them at Amazon. I go to that AliExpress.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I'll buy a great big bag of them right out of the People's Republic of China. And you want to do that in the off season because it takes about 3 months to arrive. Okay,
let me, Chad, it says you have to connect your mic and camera before you can be added to the stream. Check your settings. So anyway, yeah, but I could make the boards that way. Now, why are you popping in the second time around, Brad?
yeah, it's my computer.
That's the AI Brad. The
We
Brad
got him
and
on the
the
phone. We got him
yeah.
on the computer. There
the
we
Brad
go.
and the AI Brad. Oh, gone
Alden,
again.
we still have you,
I
Brad?
had it on mute.
Okay.
Are we
good now?
I was going to say, okay, everybody do this.
Right.
Brad hasn't missed me at all.
Put my phone down.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Put my phone down.
Brad hasn't
Here.
missed me at all.
Not at all.
Oh,
I just had to restart my old clunky computer.
you don't have that problem with an iPad.
No,
This
you got
compu-
different set of problems.
This computer was built probably 5 years before iPads were even thought of. It's doing pretty darn good for its age. So now that I'm here, are we all done talking about it?
No,
Oh, no.
So-
Actually,
I just
they were
read,
asking them.
Red Creek Honey here on the combine. You just
So what I do at the end of the year. For example, you saw all the bees that I had hanging on the outside of the boxes, right? So I had what did I have? I had 16 queens. So I had a queen in each one of those boxes. So I took those bulk bees. I took a frame or two of brood out of the hive, and I created another hive. I then put my lid on that box of bulk bees. I just pulled the feeder plug out. I threw a piece of paper towel down, and I grabbed that whole little box, and I just set the whole little box on top of that paper towel, so that they can chew through that paper towel, and she's instantly introduced into that hive. So she's laying in this little mating nuke box up top until they get down through. Once that's all laid up, she's going to look for something else. Down she goes into the bottom box, and she's introduced and continues to lay.
Oh, now we can't hear Charlie.
Now we can't hear Charlie.
now aren't I?
Oh, now you're back.
I was saying with Red
Yeah, I was going to say that was a mic
Holy,
drop and introduction, and here I am.
A hot mic now.
Now with Red Creek, they were explaining. I said that you guys are using migratories with the feeder hole in the middle,
Correct.
and they're just putting that box on top over top of that feeder hole with a piece of paper towel.
Correct.
It's not a telescoping lid.
Nope.
So, and all that.
James,
for me, I
the
can
guy,
do that.
the guy I took that idea from, he feeds that through one feed hole. He feeds those 4 through one
Does he
feed hole.
He must put a queen excluder or something on
Puts
there.
queen excluder on there. Yeah.
Something to keep the queens from
On the
coming
top
up and
of it.
killing each
Yeah.
other.
Put the queen excluder right on top, and then he'll feed that with one pail.
Yeah, you could do that because on top of our lids, it's got that 3/8 B space, so they would walk back and forth, and away they'd go.
Did you shave the end bars down for those minis?
I think I did. Yes. Yeah, I think we talked about that, and I think I took like I think it was an 1/8 inch or something off the
Yeah.
side.
Yeah, 1.25 is just fine for a brood frame.
Yeah.
And
Actually,
so that's what I do with mine.
I don't think I shaved them down. You'll see on my channel where I made all the end bars, and I just made
You
them.
made them, yeah. But
Yeah.
so they're 1.25 inches.
Correct.
Yeah, and that gives you, because I've just thought of that when you guys are talking about management space, that actually makes them nice and roomy, easy to manage in there. Because if you take a 10 frame box, you stick a divider in, and then trying to jam 5 frames on each side, that's pretty tight.
Yeah.
You bring those to 1.25 inch and you've got extra space for management. It's really nice.
Yeah, I think, like I said, you'll see in my video exactly how I made all those frames, and that jig I made on top of the table saw there with the dado blade too. Man, that was slick.
Yeah.
I got a great big. I don't even know what it is. It was. I don't know if it was like a dishwasher box or what it was, but I still have that thing probably half full of those little bars.
Wow.
And I did all that in an afternoon.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. I'm going to crank up and make some of those too.
so
I
you
made all
gotta.
those. It's like 60 some of those last winter. I didn't make any frames for them yet, so they're all
Oh.
sitting. I got them all dipped and everything. They're all sitting there. I got no frames for them.
Yep. Oh, dipping them too. That works great.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah, dipping is really the choice way to preserve equipment. I made all those skateboards last winter too, and I actually didn't use any of them this year, but I sent them to my buddies and had him dip the whole works.
yep.
So they
Yeah.
look really nice.
Yeah. Were you on here earlier, Brad, where I was saying I've learned how to use a bee escape as a wasp trap?
No, I just popped on just as I was,
No. So
just as I commented there.
I took that Lewis and Son design, and actually just by plain dumb luck, I
Yeah.
left one sitting on top of the hive, came back a week later, and there was a whole bunch of wasps and hornets that were stuck in underneath there. So I just take the bee escape now, set it on a piece of plywood the same size as the bee escape, throw in a little bit of wet cat food or a hot dog or something like that.
Yeah.
And we must have had 400 or 500 wasps in that thing when I came back.
Nice.
The bees don't care about the cat food or the dog food or the hot dog.
Yeah, they don't eat meat.
But the wasps and hornets were just packed in there.
Nice.
So now you don't need to make a wasp trap. You don't need a special piece of equipment.
Just
Just a
even a cover. You just put a cover or something.
Absolutely.
A little bit of cat food. Bob's your uncle.
Yep.
Well, that's a good tip. I'm going to share that with my association because there's always people complaining about hornets and wasps.
Well, and it's equipment that we already have, right?
Yeah.
So
Did you experiment with the triangle kind, or do you have any of those?
I don't have any of those, so no,
Okay.
I haven't experimented. We were talking about that earlier too.
Yeah.
I don't know if that would work. I think that
Might not. Yeah, but, I'll give it a shot. I got both kinds, so
there you go. Like
check it
that
out.
screen, I think is what helps because then they can smell that
Yeah.
meat, right?
Yeah, I'm thinking that might be the difference.
So
Yeah.
but yeah, we took a whole pile of them out this year with by doing that. So, but, and
I just got my yard fed today, so happy to get the bales on.
There you go. Oh, what are we at? We are on the second filling of the pails. On some of them, we're on the third. Charlie wasn't around earlier, so no 12 frame extracting this year. So
I was listening in.
Oh, were you? Start to finish, we were done in a day. So we spun out 81 boxes of honey, all in a day. And we actually had time to sit down and take it easy and relax and everything a little bit in between there too. So what a difference.
I extracted 48 boxes. And I think actually one or two of those were empty. So
ooh, in a day?
Yeah. No, complete. That's my entire crop.
Oh.
48 boxes of honey.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, last year I extracted 300 bucks of honey. This year I extracted 48.
Was it because of the dry bread?
Well, I had less colonies, and I think the drought really curtailed the flow.
I wonder what
because even if you have few colonies, you should still get an average crop, right? But my crop was 60% of what I would average get.
I wonder how much that fire affected you.
Yeah, it's always I don't know, speculation. The smoke here, there was smoke for a long time, but I was never with the impression that the smoke was really intense here.
Right.
Right. I've had times where there's been smoke here, and I can hardly breathe. You know, I remember one summer we had a lot of fires, and the smoke was so bad. I told my wife that if this goes on another 2-3 days, I'm leaving. You know, to go somewhere where there's fresh air for a few days.
Yep.
But
Oh.
it was never that bad here.
Hmm.
But there was no rain. Hardly anything grew until late August. I got some rain. I didn't
No.
even get the rain that Ian got. He'd
Yeah.
message me, "Hey, we're getting rain. You getting rain?" I said, "No, no rain."
Huh.
And
Oh, we had.
now the grass is growing like 4 inches a day.
Oh
Now,
yeah. We still aren't getting any rain, so I don't think we've had rain here in probably 2 weeks. You know, and yeah, the crops are half, you know, of what they should be.
yeah.
So, but I mean,
And
we still did not bad. We did about 5,800 pounds of honey this year, and considering where I started, and divide and divide and divide and divide and divide. So I think we did all right.
there's other dynamics here too. As young farmers start to cultivate up more of the land, so there's less hay land and stuff for
Oh
my
yes,
bees. I need to get on my little piece of hayland here and make it produce,
right.
because I'm losing some of the rest of it.
Got her.
So how did you make out with Formic Pro, Brad?
Well, honestly, I still haven't done any washes, but I don't think I had one queen loss. The whole thing.
Well, what I was looking at that last video you put out with the girl was helping you there. It looked like to me that you had nice bee flight and
Yeah,
stuff in that video.
and the brood patterns are just spectacular. You'll see tomorrow's video. I show
I
a
mean,
few
what I'm getting at is
brood
that
frames.
maybe that stuff, you know, you killed the mites and
Yeah,
the bees are responding, you know, with low mite loads and stuff like that.
yeah. The
So you
bees
had
look spectacular, especially my nukes. My nukes just looked amazing,
you
really
had
amazing.
you had favorable temperatures for that treatment.
Yeah, it was actually probably just about perfect. It was very warm,
Got her.
but I thought it was going to be a little too warm to put it on, but it was right up just under that ceiling
Got her.
when I put it on. So I think they're fine.
And no brood baking or anything like that in there.
You know, I just put it on and left it because I know how it works, right? Yeah, it'll cook some brood, right? It will. And I think that's kind of why you open it up again and there's those really nice brood nests, because you know, cleans out all the brood and then she just hits it and lays it all up again, and you get these beautiful slabs of brood. I've got 6-frame nukes with 5.5 frames of brood in them.
Yep.
And
Nice.
it scares me a little. It's kind of like, what in the heck is going to go on here? You know, I have to feed them now.
That's
Like, where are they going to put that?
That's a good problem to have.
Right? You watch the video tomorrow. You'll see what I'm talking about. It was a real challenge.
You know what? They work it out.
They do. They do.
They work it out.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about it.
I had that one, the one colony when I took apart my cell builder. There was 10 frames, just stacked with bees. 10 frames of bees, nothing else, just comb and syrup, right? So I made 10 4-frame mating nukes out of those 10 frames for my grafting project.
Yep.
And then I changed the box to a 6-framer and I loaded that up with 6 frames. You know, I put some syrup and stuff in there, whatever, just to catch the flyers.
Yep.
Right. And I got 11 virgins taken care of with mating nukes out of that cell builder, and that one is cell builder. The one that was sitting there and getting the flyers coming back, she mated. Holy cow! She just went off like a shotgun in that thing, and before I knew it, I had 3 6-frame boxes high.
Nice.
just packed full of bees. And so, was it yesterday? I had to take that. I had to take that down to 6 frames. I had to get 18 frames into 6, and there's 5 frames of brood in the bottom.
Perfect.
So I don't know what's going to go on there, but you know,
It's hard to beat fresh queens like that, eh?
oh man, they're just unbelievably prolific.
What was your mating return like?
You know me, I don't keep strong numbers, but you know, in July, my mating success is near 100%. It'll be 95 to 98% easy.
And they all made it back to the hive?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
See, mine
Yeah.
mine was probably just over 50%.
You were saying, and why is that?
I can only think it's got to be due to the environment or the predators. Now, I've had great, success at these yards in previous years, but and it didn't seem to matter whether it was a mini mating nuke or a 6-way or a 6-frame 3-way pallet. The return on them was just over 50%.
Yeah.
So
Well, at least you've weeded out the equipment. You know, the equipment is not the issue.
No, it's the environment for sure. But
yeah, I don't know, because I usually start grafting early, maybe late May, early June, and through June, mating success is 75%.
Yeah.
Usually, but by the time I get to early to mid July, it's almost 100%.
Huh.
It's really quite spectacular how good it is.
Yeah. So I couldn't start grafting until probably the middle to the end of June. I just didn't have the bees. Right?
You didn't have any bees, yeah, and that's that translated into my terrible honey crop, because I just went for bees. I took the apiary apart, built the builder, started making mating nukes.
Yeah.
So I ended up with 44. I think there's 44 6-framers right now, and all but maybe 2 are exceptionally strong.
There you go.
Yeah, very pleased.
We well, as you know, we've got a couple that were set up right beside a clover hayfield, and we got some that are set up beside the canola hayfield.
Bless you.
Thank you.
And so I mean, we would get to the point where we would have, I don't know, 6, 8 frames of bees in there.
Bless you.
And we were splitting those. So I mean, I don't think I did anything less than probably a 4-frame split. But if I had 2 frames of brood and 2 frames of bees, that was another hive. And as fast as I could make the queens, we were splitting those things up. Well,
yeah,
I got an extra frame of brood from this one, an extra frame of brood from that one. Find some more bees, and there's another hive. So I mean, we greatly decreased our honey production, but this year was all about building bees.
Yeah, same here. I just, the honey will be what it'll be, and it definitely is. I'm looking at 1,500 pounds or so.
Oh,
yeah.
Are you going to be able to supply your customers?
Well, we'll see.
So
I have a little holdover from last year, so I won't be in hot water yet.
Well, I still had I had my holdover from last year, and we, like say, added another 5,000 plus. So
yeah,
let me know if I got to go for a drive.
Got any clover honey?
I do. I got about 4 drums of it.
Call me sometime.
What do you want me to call you? Yeah. So,
Brad, you were talking about burning the brood. Your formic is it killing the brood? Is what you're saying? That
well, formic certainly will kill open brood, and it'll kill some brood in the cell too. Yeah, it's harsh.
I mean, I got mine on there. It's been on over a week now. Well, a week coming this Sunday. And I've never really, like you say, I've never really had a queen issue with one, because I always watch the temperatures. And I don't think I've ever really seen any of them hauling out any old, dead brood or anything like that. The main thing I always was looking at it, I always try to get it at 80 degrees or less, which is
Yeah.
27 degrees C. And this year is exceptionally cooler. It's like in the 70s, all this week. 75 is the high. Now today was up to around 80, but it's been over 5 days since it's been on the hive, and it's pretty much did its main.
75. That's warm enough. That's over 20. That's warm enough.
Yeah, what I'm getting at is it. They say the first 4 days is the most crucial, as far as
Right.
heat
Yeah.
and everything. So I've got it through the first 4 to 5 days.
Yeah.
So
good.
it's
Good.
on the coasting side of it
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we had brutally hot heat here. We had 36-degree days, 38 degrees days. Like it just, I mean, people, it was just gross. I mean, you couldn't do anything.
Well,
I remember we had too much of that, but we had some of that, I don't know, 2 weeks ago. We had some that was really quite hot, low 30s here.
So,
But, wasn't too long. It was less than a week.
got her.
Today was really nice. 27 here today.
Oh, it looked like
Beautiful.
an apocalypse here all day. It's so smoky.
Yeah.
You might be able to see 3-4 blocks.
Wow.
So
No, smoke cleared up here. As soon as it rained in the north, then it cleared right up. It's been really nice.
So been another horrible year for out here. So that's what 3 or 4 years in a row now. Bad fires, bad smoke, bad drought. Just
Yeah.
tough.
You're not paying enough taxes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be a lesson to you.
That's
Well, guys, I'm going to go ahead and shut the chat down. It's getting actually we're almost past an hour past what we normally do. So just everybody stay in the chat.
all right. Well, good night, everyone.
Yeah,
Good night.
night.